Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening.
I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It is almost Christmas.
It's the winter solstice today.
You know, tomorrow it's my wife's and I. It's our first 21 years ago was our first date.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. 21 years ago. And what's crazy about that night was I almost couldn't find her. Like, we were supposed to meet, and we decided, all right, we're gonna meet by the Rockefeller Christmas tree.
Okay.
And we almost did not meet her. It was like it took a while.
I was gonna say that's a big area.
Yeah. Thankfully we did, but we almost didn't. So that's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's weird, like how fate works out.
This time of year, that close to Christmas, that area is mobbed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I heard Matt Gaetz on TV today. He had a similar story about meeting his girlfriend for the first time. The buses were leaving, but fortunately he was able to flag down a teacher who pointed her out, and it was a real.
Yeah, what elementary school was that at?
Right.
Did you see that photo of him with Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah.
Ugh. What a fucking, like, two pigs.
Yeah. That Rittenhouse kid.
This is a piece of shit. I got no, there's no words. I mean, listen, he's young and stupid.
Sure.
He's definitely stupid. Like, his voice, like, he sounds dumb. Like, you can tell
he's
him.
He's a good kid. He's like, he's dumb.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he knows he could be a fucking, like, evil genius,
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in the lab right now with Elon. It's just, again, I just hope if there's like any justice, it's just that he gets fucking sued for everything he's got by the families of the people he killed.
It's just
usually most people who get acquitted of murder don't become like weird celebrities in a circle and make like tons of money off of it. Like, what's his face tried to do it, it didn't work.
George. What was his name? George Zimmerman. Yeah, he's apparently
to do it, but I think the temperature of our politics were different back then.
Oh yeah.
This is
no Republicans wanted to latch on to George Zimmerman. They were like, he's innocent-ish, but should go away.
They just weren't outright. You didn't have like Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress and stuff like that, or you didn't have a Trump presidency yet. It was a different world. And Zimmerman's just, it's like, Kyle Rittenhouse, he's this young stud, I mean, look at him. I mean,
he is one of the goofiest motherfuckers I've ever seen.
He does look like a little goofball. Like, he looks like a Howdy Doody motherfucker.
Yeah, he looks like he'd be, maybe that's what they like about him. He does look like a character from Leave It to Beaver or something.
Yeah, like a fucking, what was that show? With Opie?
Yeah, Andy Griffith show.
Yeah, like some kind of weird little like he's got like a coonskin cap on, and like little like pop gun. Yeah,
it's weird. His mom, though, Rittenhouse's mom, looks like
a pig.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like
a literal pig,
like a great value Piggly Wiggly.
Like, I'm not saying like in like she's heavy or anything like that. I mean, like, she literally looks like a hog. Like,
porcine.
Like she's got like the pug, like a pug nose.
Yep. Yeah.
Pointed up, like a snout.
Yeah. Weird.
She has that little squiggly tail and the pointy ears.
Yeah. Well,
hunts. I will say this though. One little fact about Kyle Rittenhouse's mom.
Yeah.
Really good at finding truffles.
Yes. Yeah. And she did learn from her siblings and built the mightiest brick house, which
right. Yeah, oh, that too. Yeah, really good
Kyle's
at
Uncle
enforcing housing.
Roscoe over in the house made of straw did not fare so well. And his
No,
yeah.
not her
Well,
fellow piglets.
I didn't mean
Uh,
to distract our conversation with a Rittenhouse family
oh, that's
reunion.
okay. No one wants to hear about me meeting my wife or anything like that.
21 years. That's
Yeah.
how long did you date before you got married?
Uh, 6.
Oh wow,
Okay.
6 years. Okay,
Well,
wow.
it's like my sister got married in like what year was that? 05. My brother got married in 06. I didn't want to get married the same year.
Yeah,
He got
nice.
married in 07. To my wife's chagrin. It just kind of worked out that way. I
Yeah,
think we moved in and lived together since like 2003.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, we met in the end of 2001. So it was like a year and a half, and then we moved in together.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah,
lived in a basement apartment in Flushing, Queens, and
yeah,
yeah, there was multiple floods in that basement.
yeah.
Nothing
We've
like
heard
not like all of a sudden we woke up, we were like 3 feet in water. It was just like water seeping in.
right.
This isn't good.
I lived in a basement apartment in Portland, and it's damp. It's,
I
even on
mean,
a good
like,
day, it feels moist. It feels
well, that's one thing, but when water's seeping in on the bottom
sure.
because they never sealed the basement and they don't have proper drainage in their
Yeah,
backyard. There's no such thing as like French drains in Queens or
right.
something. That's the issue. It's like you need
Right.
a
Well, certainly this apartment was inspected, right? And been
oh
like,
sure. The basement apartment that we lived in was totally legal with its like barely 6 foot ceilings and like a suck pump that didn't even have like a didn't even have it had a suck pump for plumbing. That was one time it flooded too, was because the suck pump didn't work.
oh,
And I
woof.
was like, what? And then another time it flooded because the backyard, it snowed a bunch of times and it finally melted and all the water had nowhere to go
Oh, Jesus.
except in the house.
Yeah.
So then we moved out there. The best part about that apartment was well, one, the guy who owned it, his name was Gabby, and he was this
Yeah.
fucking
I, you've talked about this guy before, and in my head, all I can think about is Alexi, the jerk landlord from the Young Ones.
maybe I would say this guy tried to be friendlier, but he's just a little over his head.
Yeah.
Over his head, probably, scumbag, but like he thinks he's a good guy, kind
Yeah.
of like, which is like worse.
Yep.
But I basically like, yeah, we're getting the fuck out of here. I want my deposit back. He only would give me half, and I was like, give me a half. I don't care. I just want to get the fuck out of here.
Well, I'll take either the washer or the dryer with me.
Yeah, I know I should have, but whatever. I made him. Like, it was so funny. Like I made him like walk to the bank and get me. I walked with him to the bank, get my fucking deposit, and he's like, "You take it." I'm like, "I'm not taking the money out of the ATM. You fucking take it out. That's so weird."
Like Dog Day Afternoon
You
or
want me to
something.
like fucking look like I'm stealing your money on camera? I'm like, I'm not stupid. I said that to him. Like, I'm not dumb. Take the fucking money and put it in the
Right.
fucking, and then you hand it to me later. Like, the fuck out of here. What is this? Yeah. So then we got the hell out of there. I can't talk about some of the things that I
Yeah,
did.
yeah. Well, the statutes of limitations has certainly run out on half that stuff.
2003.
Yeah, better safe than
I
sorry.
thought about it at the time. I told people about that at the time, and I was like really proud of what I did. But now I think about it, I'm like, it's really disgusting. I pissed on the floor in the
Oh,
middle of the
geez.
room. I was like, fuck it. I'm so
Punk
angry.
rock, man. It was the
Yeah,
90s.
punk rock, man. Yeah, whatever, right? Like that. Gee, took a shit on it, speared it on the wall. Gee, and I sang "I Want to Fuck Myself" by Gigi Allen. No, I didn't do that, but I did pee, and then like a couple months later, I was on Craigslist and I saw an ad for an apartment. That back in the day, everyone used Craigslist. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it still exists now, right? Is it just like
That's a
Grindr
good
or
question.
something
I
at this
don't
point?
know. Does Craigslist exist? I don't know.
So Craigslist that's how we found out about the apartment. That's how we found out about all apartments in New York back in the day. We used to get IKEA furniture through Craigslist.
Yeah.
We used to sell stuff through Craigslist. I got a funny story about Craigslist. I'll tell you after.
Craigslist, here, just for the record, Craigslist not only exists, it looks identical to how it looked in 2001. It's like the same exact site.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't know why it gives me the heebie-jeebies now. Like, it's almost like weird. Like, anyone who still uses it, like, it scares me. But it's probably like a great way to like sell shit and just get rid of things.
Yeah.
And probably find good things too. Now that I think about it. So I saw an ad for the apartment, and he was calling it like a cavernous like garden, which I thought my boss at the time, I showed it to him and he was laughing. He's like, the Sigmund and the sea monster live there. Like it's a beluga or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like talking about. So what I did was I copied and pasted his ad, and I made my own ad for the apartment with the same address and everything. And I told the truth about it. Can't say half the things I wrote.
Right.
On here. But basically just revealed really what's going on. I said, hey, as long as you don't mind water seeping in because he's done nothing to fix it. I mentioned a couple other things, and then like all of a sudden I got contacted by him, and he's like, I feel bad. I want to give you the other half of your money. And I was like, and I wrote him like, oh, why is that? I'm like, all right. I gave him my address to my job because I wasn't going to give him my address. And he sent me the remaining of my deposit.
Yeah. I
could have been like, send me the last 2 months of rent too.
Right.
But whatever. I mean, I just wanted what was mine.
Yeah. Right.
I don't work that way,
Right.
I mean, I should have, but like,
yeah,
it was just pretty funny because I did it twice. I kept on seeing the ad, and then the second time it got worse.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was really funny. It made me crack up. I didn't expect anything out of it. I was just super pissed off. I was like, "Fuck this guy! You're not gonna like rent this." Like the worst part, we were there. This was like the last couple of days we were there because we were already moving out, and we're like, "Fine, you could show the apartment to people," even though I think like you shouldn't be showing the apartment to people. You should be fucking fixing.
Right.
And he's like showing it to this like fucking woman who can barely speak English. Her kids are gonna be living there in this like it was stupid ass little basement apartment that like me and Leah lived in. It was like it was stupid live there. And I saw like him like renting out to this like poor woman with like who look I think had like 2 or 3 kids, and I'm like, you gotta live in this fucking place. It's like not safe. It's fucking gonna flood again multiple times at some point.
Probably
like it's inevitable. He's never gonna fix it. So
black mold in the bathroom and stuff.
What?
Black mold in the bathroom and
Who
stuff.
Who knows? I mean, it'll be like 3 months from now. Like I was like so fucking. I was like, what the fuck, man? It was gross. So, yeah, I don't know what are we talking about this week.
Well,
I want to tell you another quick Craigslist story, real quick.
Yeah.
So this is around that time period. So that was 2003, or that was 2004. And then 2004, I feel like I was using Craigslist at that time. I remember going on there, and there was a guy. It was around the time Passion of the Christ came out.
Okay, yeah.
And there was a guy. I saw his ad on there, and there was a guy who said, "I want to invite a non-Christian with me. I'll pay for your ticket. You could come with me to watch Passion of the Christ, and then we could talk about it afterwards." I was like cracking up, and I was talking to people at my job at, and my boss was like, "That sounds like the worst idea ever." I was like, "Should I go?" I'm like, "No, I would never do that. This is probably like the biggest fucking creep in the world."
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna end up like dead. Like, that's
right. I was like
a scenario.
Oh man.
Oh, my Passion of Christ, I meant white slavery. Yeah. Remember that term? Like used to hear about that, like in the O's.
Yeah. That was like a big pressing concern. So it's right up there with quicksand. Right up there with...
Yeah, it was the new quicksand of the quicksand was the 80s.
Yeah.
Slavery was the O's.
Yeah, for sure.
I just remember seeing that ad of this guy. Like, I want to see Passion of Christ with a non-Christian. We could talk about it afterwards.
No, thank you.
I was like, I think this is the last thing I want to do.
Yeah. When you first said that, I thought in my head, I was thinking The Last Temptation of Christ, the
No,
Willem
see,
Dafoe one, but
that's a
no.
movie I'd go see. That was hated by the Christians.
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah, I remember
hated that
that.
movie. I
Yeah.
always liked what's his face is Judas. What's
Who
the
was
guy's name?
who was Willem
Harvey
Dafoe?
Keitel
Oh
played
yeah.
Judas, and he had like a thick Brooklyn accent or something. He's like, "Hey, Jesus,
Yeah.
I'm just Pilate over here."
Yeah. That was a weird movie.
Yeah, William Dafoe played the Jesus.
Right. And who played Satan? Did it was someone famous, wasn't it?
Is it like David Bowie or something?
I was gonna guess. I don't think it was David Bowie. But that's who I was going to guess.
I just remember like the Catholic League hated that movie when it came out.
Yeah.
But when Passion of Christ came out, they loved that movie. One
yeah.
guy I worked with, he was like, he grew up religious, and he said, and this is how I knew he was a good guy.
Yeah.
He said that movie was the most unchristian film he ever saw in his life, because all it was just this movie where it's just like a weird like torture porn, like Jesus getting beaten, and he said like he's like none of the values were taught, nothing really was taught in the movie. It's all just the passion play.
Yeah.
Which is like designed, which I heard was designed to like for anti-Semitism back in the day.
Yeah. I've heard that. I don't know much about that. Yeah. So weird.
Well, that I was just talking about me and my wife, and then you bring up Kyle Rittenhouse, and then I start talking about my original living situation, and then leading to passion to.
That's just how it works here. That's just
how it works at YSGOAT. So, what are we talking about today, Joseph?
We are talking about
what are we like 25 minutes in?
Yeah, we're talking about the latest episode of Willow, which I liked quite a bit. We're talking about January 6th committee wrapping up and making their referrals, Trump's taxes, and the terrifying proposition that we might learn about the Supreme Court's taxes.
Oh no!
Right?
What was that guy's name? The guy from Texas?
Oh, geez, what was
he looks like a Ferengi.
He's a I don't know much about him.
Looks like a little goblin. That guy. That's how I always know the Republicans are like going to be in charge of the House is when I see that fucking guy. Like, because I remember seeing him when the Republicans had the House in the first 2 years of Trump's presidency.
Yeah,
I used to see that fucking goblin guy all the time with like whatever group. He was always in the leadership position.
Yeah. What was this guy's name? I commented on his thing earlier. I've been like hesitant to do a lot of commenting on Twitter lately, but let's see, who is this guy?
He's a representative from Texas.
He is. It's Paul something, I think. There's a tweet where I called Hugh Hewitt an idiot.
That fucking guy. Poor man's Tom Brokaw.
He's terrible.
Fucking off-brand Tom Brokaw.
He wrote this big article in the Washington Post this morning about how we shouldn't what is his name? Dan Bishop? No, that's some other guy. How we shouldn't prosecute Trump, because like
he said we should go to the tax returns because then it opens the door to other tax returns. Yeah. And then he brought up like, what if they go after like the Supreme Court and we're all like sitting there like,
yeah, you're thinking
that'd be awesome.
That guy's name is Kevin Brady, Republican from Texas.
Kevin Brady looks like a thumb. Like
he does.
But if there was like a goblin.
He looks like a less toned Bobby Hill.
He looks like cotton.
Yeah, he does. He does a little. No, the Hugh Hewitt article was basically like
also walks around on his knees too.
Yeah, it's true.
His sheets were shot out during the Korean War.
The Hugh Hewitt article is so awful. I mean, he starts off by saying like anybody who's worked in the White House knows that it's real easy to steal classified documents. And
You
then
knew it was the former like Fox like
yes,
main anchor. He was like their fucking like
I think
fake
so.
ass Dan Rather or something.
Well, it's just, I mean, and then I like, of course, it takes like literally 3 seconds to Google how Hugh Hewitt felt about Hillary Clinton's emails. And surprisingly, he felt very different.
Isn't he just like a fucking party hack? I mean, all those Republicans are. They're all fucking, they basically, if they're not in politics, if the Republican is not in politics or doesn't have a position in the government, there's a good chance that they have a show on Fox or they're regular on Fox.
Yeah.
Like, what's his face is on supposedly all the time. That fucking creep that used to work for Trump. The guy with spray on hair.
Yeah.
What was that?
Talk about Scaramucci?
No. Scaramucci has thick hair. No, that guy, he was the one who like basically came up with all the ideas of like kidnapping children and shit.
Oh, Stephen Miller. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking cool. I mean, like they're all on there. Like even like what's her face? Who's like governor of fucking Arkansas now. Like
Sarah
should be like on Fox
Huckabee.
Yeah, she was on Fox all the time. You know, it's just it's like a revolving door. They're either currently in a position in the party, they have a position in the White House, or they're on fucking Fox. Now, some people can argue and say that MSNBC is a little bit like that, CNN's a little bit like that.
Sure.
But Fox is just so blatant.
It's next level. And it's just so well, we're talking about Trump's taxes, Elon Musk's poll, do you like me, yes, no poll, and his Twitter bans. We're talking about Boebert versus Greene. Boebert versus Marjorie Taylor Greene, big grudge match over there. And then we're talking about the Zelensky address to Congress today, which I thought was real moving. You know, it's I
ain't gonna lie, I didn't see it.
It's good. It was good. I mean, like, look, he's cultivated this image where he's like a fighter. And he shows up basically wearing like a green t-shirt and stuff. And it's like a little bit of a jarring image. It's
funny because like people have brought that up and said that like Elon Musk is like stealing the Zelensky, and so is fucking Josh Hawley.
Yeah.
Josh Hawley tries to like go to like things with like the t-shirt, the greenish t-shirt like Zelensky wears, and Elon Musk showing up to events, like going to a fucking soccer game, meeting up with the Saudis wearing just the same kind of t-shirt. It's just really funny how they're trying to ape this guy's like.
It's real weird though. This guy, I mean, you remember like in the late 90s when the Iron Curtain fell, they had like that Velvet Revolution, and they were electing like who's that guy who got elected in Poland, Lech Walesa. He was like a playwright, and the Polish people elected him to be their president. And like Lou Reed flew over and like swore him in and stuff. It was just like a crazy time. Yeah, it was really. I'm not making any of that up. It was like Lou Reed was there.
Kazakhstan's like, get me Gary Coleman.
Yeah, it's like right. And the Chechens had Gary Busey, and it was just like crazy. But it was a real crazy time, and it was like this kind of this little renaissance or cultural revolution in a good way. But this is like another one where like Zelensky was like a sitcom star, and then he got elected president to kick the...
Well, he played a sitcom star who becomes president.
Yeah, right. It was like,
he's like a teacher or something, and he becomes president in the show.
Right.
And then he ends
and then in real life
becomes president.
But now he's like literally in a war. He's like been through shelling. He wears fatigues. He's like, you see pictures of him like handing out rifles to dudes.
His life's in danger. Listen, the joke is people like try to like attack the guy, but at the end of the day, it's like his country is the one getting invaded.
Yeah.
If you're gonna argue in any way, I think you're arguing in bad faith, and I don't really trust you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, theoretically, even though like Russia's like not a great country right now, like
Putin's just a straight up
because of Putin. Like, it's not Russia the country, it's like the regime, But
well,
like,
even Zelensky said, he said if Putin went, I watched an interview with him. I know we were talking about things and
yeah.
maybe we should have saved this for later, but real quick, I watched the Letterman interview. Letterman has that show, like
Yeah. My
or
next
whatever.
guest needs no introduction.
Yeah, and he went out to Ukraine, and they were like in a subway station or something, like underground, because
Yeah.
there's like bombings. Like a siren was going off in the background during his interview. But Zelensky said it flat out. He's like, do you think if Putin like were to leave, pass away or whatever, just Putin wasn't in charge of the country anymore, do you think the war would be over? And he's like, yeah, I do. I think he's like, this is all him. Like, he's like, there's a big faction in the country that don't even want to fight. Like, this is his doing.
This guy is basically living Red Dawn. Republicans should be beating off to this. This guy, like,
right, because he's literally fighting off the Russians.
Yeah, I mean, he is basically a Wolverine. Well,
I mean, he is backed by the biggest superpower in the world, but that's no.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
right, Republicans in theory should be like
this should be their
this dude, like, but clearly they are on the other side. Right. That's been the. I mean, a lot of that was revealed in the beginning of this, like you said, all kinds of weird tweets. A lot of people were really revealed what they were. Really, some people had some really strange takes. I remember them just being like, "Oh, that's odd." Like, I lost followers, but I was like glad to lose those followers.
Right. Yeah.
It's very strange.
Well,
all right, what else are we talking about?
All right. Well, that was the last topic, is Zelensky.
Oh.
So I guess we can circle back around and start with Willow. We just saw episode 5. I liked it a lot. I liked this one a whole bunch. I think last week's was my favorite. What is it? The Whispers.
I like this one, but you could tell it's more of a 2-parter because it clearly has like more of a cliffhanger. Like the other ones, like the one thing I like about the show is that like the episodes have felt a little bit more episodic.
Yes.
Like, single story, like continuing. Obviously, they're on a quest, but each episode kind of like that the Mandalorian seasons are, where it's like clearly an overall arc. But
last week's was a perfect example of that. They're questing on their long arc quest, and then they have a haunted house adventure, and then they go back questing.
Yeah.
It's a standalone episode, basically.
This one was good, and you get introduced to a bunch of things, and you find out, like, like some politics stuff of the kind of the world, and like how Boebert kind of like, as evil as she was, she like freed these people.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to like the evil, what's her face, Daenerys in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, real similar.
Hey, I'm freeing you. I mean, it's interesting though, but like, pledge your whatever loyalty to me because I'm going to free you from the slavers, even though now you're kind of like you have to fight for me. That's kind of like what Boebert did, in a way. She basically the leader of that, and you find out that girl who the princess loves. She's one of them, and I guess she's she's basically that dude with the skull, that weird skull in the first movies, like like a bunch of kids because he just like probably raped people all the time.
Right.
She's his daughter or something, and I guess that woman who ran the group was also a daughter because that was her sister.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Right when what was her name? Scorpia or something? When Scorpia comes out of her hut and you see Borman in the foreground and you see, what's that girl's name? Jade in the background.
Pull up IMDb here because I am so bad when it comes to names. Lori was awesome. I like Lori.
Yeah, it was funny.
I like when he shaves that one guy, the one dude's mustache, and then he says something about like you can't get a girl with it. And he's like, what? He's like, what about that guy? He's like, he doesn't have a girlfriend.
Well,
he doesn't have a beard.
I think that it was so obvious to me almost immediately that those two were sisters. You know,
yeah, I didn't think that she was gonna be her mom. She seemed a little too young to be her mom. But I figured they were definitely like, okay, they're probably like related.
They just looked so similar. Like
Jade is the one that was revealed to be the daughter. I like the backstory of Borman. They showed like he tries giving this like bullshit story about getting away and everything. And he just like went off, got drunk, and fucked around. Oh, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Even though he was like in a bucket of shit, I guess.
Oh
really
yeah.
disgusting.
It's like fucking holding his breath under the. Wow.
And then he was like,
that was great.
That guy's great. He's clearly the
Mad Mardigan.
Mad Mardigan of the show. Yeah. I like that they all took that, like they were drinking these like plums or something, which makes them tell the truth. And Willow's sitting there basically saying that like he's a fraud.
Right. I'm not a very good sorcerer.
He's like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like when he's doing like that flame and he's like, and the other guy's like, how are you doing that? He's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, it looked like he had a little flamethrower backpack, like, I don't know. Well,
yeah.
It was a really good episode. It was the thing I didn't love about it, and this is a real, like, I'm looking for something to critique, is
you didn't like the Burning Man element of the show?
Well, the last couple episodes have felt like I know when you're on a journey, like at some point the characters have to stop and say, like, look, this is what's happened, this is the context, now let's resume our journey. But it felt like they did that last week too. Like, okay, well, let's
like kind of lost or trapped, or they were in Bad Mortar's castle or something like that.
Yeah. Well, last week, yeah. But like both last week, they basically had to stop in the castle. And as they were stopped in the castle, all these secrets are revealed. And then they leave the castle. And then this week, we see them in the middle of action fleeing. And then they have to go to the Forbidden Forest or whatever.
I like that when Willow finds the brownie village.
Yeah.
And that guy shows up from the first movie.
Yeah, Kevin Kline.
I remember seeing Willow, and I remember that like they were annoying, but I remember like reading reviews at the time for the movie, and every fucking critic hated those characters, the brownies.
Yeah.
With their French accents. They're like, why do they have French accents? It doesn't like these are not funny. They take you out. It takes them out of the movie. It doesn't look good because they're like tiny.
They were terrible.
The actor's name who plays him. I like that.
It's Kevin Kline, isn't it?
No, not Kevin Kline.
Who is it then?
Well, he's on that show. He's been around for years, but right now he's on that Marvelous Miss Maisel show. But where is he? Kevin Pollak.
Oh, Kevin Pollak. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like that when he's telling the story and he's like, because he had that partner in the first movie and that guy wasn't there.
Yeah.
And he's telling the story, making it sound like the guy died.
Right.
No, he moved.
Moved down south.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was good. It was good. I do like. There's just so much.
Funny.
It's so good. Yeah.
It's funny. Like, in a good way. Like all the characters, like the way they interact with each other.
Yeah.
And is great. Work Davis is great. I was like a little nervous in the first episode. He was like weird when he like shows up in the end.
Yeah.
And he just goes on this like juxtaposition like thing. And I was like, oh no, this sounds terrible. But then by the second episode it was great.
He's gotten much better. And it was never him. I like the actor just fine.
I think it was the writing in the first episode more than it was really him. Like he's obviously a competent actor. He's been in tons of things. He knows he's funny. Like the guy, like I legitimately thought like it's, and Willow was funny too. Like the movie had a lot of humor. It really pairs with, like, if you watch the movie and watch this show, they pair together.
Yeah.
Like, unlike, like, even like Karate Kid and like Cobra Kai, like, makes jest at Karate Kid.
But I think
because it wasn't, it took itself seriously.
Yeah.
But Willow, the tone of Willow was always had a tinge of humor to it. So it's not like, oh, here's a super serious movie, and now we're gonna like.
No, they have a similar tone. But but it's funny you say that, because Karate Kid and the Willow series, well, Cobra Kai and the Willow series both make you, like the viewer, look at the original thing a little differently. You know what I mean? Like Cobra Kai makes you look at maybe Johnny wasn't a villain. And
Well, there's always been that joke online for years of that Ralph Macchio was the villain, and they kind of played that up in the first season a lot.
And the and Willow the series does make you kind of like reevaluate some of the original film, not like
but
as much.
Like the tone is there's not
it's
like
similar.
a crazy change, or it's like this feels different. It doesn't. It feels exactly the same.
Yeah,
it's the universe good. That it's in is consistent.
Yeah, I would say that's real true. And it just feels the show. I mean, like
go ahead, yeah.
I was gonna say, like it. I don't want to say it exactly like this, but it feels like an old-fashioned TV show. It's not. I mean, it's got a lot of modern sensibilities. It moves quickly. It's got like all the modern trappings, but like that vibe of, oh, I'm gonna get the episodic vibe to it's kind of old-fashioned in a way, but in a good way. I have fun watching it every week. I like look forward to watching this show. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was about to say something. I totally forgot.
Well, it is good.
I like the way, like I said, I like all the casting and the new people. I like that they got a girl that you could believe is Val Kilmer's daughter.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like she looks like she could be Val Kilmer's kid.
She does, and she acts like it a little bit.
I took the son, who's only in the first episode, and he showed up in the end of the last week's episode.
Yeah.
And I figured this week's episode you would see what he was up to, but they totally just, so probably next week we'll get more of what's going on with him. I thought that originally he was being played by, did you watch the Val Kilmer documentary?
Yeah, Val.
But did you see how the movie was like, it was narrated by his son, who had like a very similar voice to his dad?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Val Kilmer's son narrated. Let me see if I can see this. Val Kilmer's son narrates.
Oh. Yeah, that's funny.
He gives a voice to his father who doesn't have a voice.
Right.
Val Kilmer's voice is gone. He uses like a larynx box.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe, he says Val Kilmer's son Jack gives his dad a voice in the poignant clip from Val Kilmer documentary. I thought that they casted him to be
that's funny.
The son, but I think it's played by a different actor.
Well, this kid, it is. I looked up the kid. He doesn't have much of a resume, but he was great in that first episode, and he looks like Val Kilmer. He looks and acts like
they did a good job of casting two people that you can believe are Val Kilmer's kids.
Yep. Yeah, same vibe.
Yeah, I think the girl plays Lorna Dannon. I mean, sure, I can believe
she's fine. Yeah,
maybe correct.
Well, it's just like she of all the characters, she is the most traditionally movie. I mean, the blonde princess. I mean, like she's the most traditional. But she's not.
But she was like a baker. She wasn't even like
yeah.
Like she wasn't a maiden in distress. I find it funny though. It's like we can't let. All right, so if you don't want like a Lorna Dannon to know who she is, and you give her a different name, so that no one knows where Lorna Dannon is, because there's people who want to kill her, and the best way to protect her is to just kind of like erase her and like.
But why make her a serving wench? You know,
right? Like so they could keep an eye on her, I guess.
But like,
I'd be like, why not send her to like a totally different world? Like, and wouldn't even know, but maybe. There's also like the whole they can control the narrative, because like she could go off somewhere else and someone could be like, you're a Lorna Dannon, kind of like how Willow immediately is like, yeah, you're a Lorna Dannon. No.
Right. I don't know. That's a little bit of a plot hole.
It's okay. I could see the logic behind it. It's like you trick someone thinking they're not, but you can keep an eye on them because they're always on the ground, as opposed to like, if you send them off somewhere and it's like, you have no idea. And then she comes back as like an evil wizard because someone else finds out and it knows who she is and exploits it. I like it. Like I said, the Burning Man was a little annoying, but it's fine. That's like a typical trope in these type of shows. The Village, it's like filled with like hippie-ish people.
Yeah.
It's like in Dark Crystal when do you remember those like little things? Did you ever see the Dark Crystal?
I saw the original movie, but I never watched. I watched like the first episode of the series.
Okay, but the movie I'm talking about.
Yeah, I remember that.
They like the main guy was raised by those like weird like four-armed things.
Yeah.
And then the girl was raised by these like little like munchkin people.
Right.
And it just reminded me like they go to the village and everyone's like someone's playing a drum.
Yeah.
Very festive.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. We got 3 episodes left.
That's it.
I think it's an 8-episode run. I hope
it gets renewed. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I think there's a lot of stuff they can do with this series, and the cast is a lot of them are relatively unknown, so they can keep this going for a while.
Like that one guy has been in a lot of stuff. The one guy who like we know from the Spider-Man movies, he plays Flash.
Yeah.
Flash Thompson. Which is funny. I always thought his casting him as Flash Thompson was an interesting twist because Flash Thompson was always kind of like a big jock bully. And instead they made him like just like a weenie rich kid.
Yeah, a little dweeb.
A little dweeby rich kid that's kind of like an antagonist to Peter.
Yeah.
That was about it, like he wasn't like a physical threat ever to him or anything like that.
Right.
I forgot what he called him though. He had in the first movie, he called him like penis breath or something. Penis breath Parker or something. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I've seen that guy in some other stuff, so he's probably the most recognizable. Like, and obviously we know the one girl, the Jade. She was in the Winter Soldier show.
Oh yeah,
she played one of the Flag Smashers in the Winter Soldier.
Right,
she was like the main one, and she's also in Solo.
I did hear that. Yeah,
that big reveal in the end when you find out that main villain or whatever was actually her, and
right.
That was the big twist.
Yeah.
Solo, remember that movie?
Yeah, I thought that was better than probably people gave it credit for, but
I feel like Solo was like Disney was hoping to do like they wanted to make their own franchise of movies that were outside of the trilogy, and Solo was the start of it. And then they smartened up and realized no, doing TV shows is the way to do it. Yeah. So Solo was like a little oopsie on the way to getting to that point. Like,
Solo would probably work good as a Disney series. Yeah,
it would have been great as a series.
Yeah.
I wish that I would totally watch that. I think I would love to see. I think Solo as like a series like that with his adventures, and then you could have and like Jabba, but then like running into all these other characters and bring Kira back. That would have been a great show.
Yeah, it would have been.
Like I would love to see that with like Lando as an antagonist, kind of slash antagonist, and like missed opportunity on it. I mean, Disney Plus was just like a glint in their eye at that point.
That wasn't
working on it, and they were doing The Mandalorian. But part of me wishes that like they did a Solo thing, but it's a Disney Plus special or something,
right?
Or a TV series.
Maybe they will,
but I don't think they will. I think they look at it and they're like, that actor probably wants nothing to do with it. They don't want to use him either.
Yeah.
They're probably trying to beg Harrison Ford right now to do the weird deep fake. Like they did to Mark Hamill. Hey, you know what? Mark Hamill in that, like the first one was a little awkward.
Oh yeah, he was great in the second.
Episode, but that Book of Boba Fett episode when he is training Grogu, that was crazy. I remember watching that being like, holy shit. It was like night and day. Like I remember that.
It was like he was there,
He felt like he was there. It was so weird. It was like, whoa, what is this? It was like uncanny. Like not Uncanny Valley. Like I think if you really stared at it, like, you could find a problem here and there, but it was like if the season finale of Mandalorian was like 25%, that episode with the Book of Boba Fett was like 75%.
Yeah, easily. That was a significant improvement.
I said him working off of like a little puppet. It's like your eyes different. Now have him mixed in with other people, and let's see how he really looks. And I think that's gonna be the true test.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing before we move on. Did you see the trailer to the new Indiana Jones movie?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Did you see that they're doing a de-aged version that is like, I don't know when that it's supposed to take place in the beginning or whenever. It's like a flashback and it's supposed to be around the time of the first movie.
Huh.
And they de-aged him.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
They're probably like, we'll start with that and see if he's cool with it, and then we'll see if he'll do
Yeah.
Solo. I mean, fuck it. They pay the guy. I mean, he's already in he's gonna be in a Marvel movie, Harrison Ford. I think he's supposedly taking over for John Hurt as Ross
all right.
in the movie Thunderbolts, and the rumor is he's gonna turn into the Red Hulk, Harrison Ford.
Oh, shit.
Well, I just think it's funny though. I still think the casting's odd. It's like, okay, yeah, John Hurt died of cancer and he was like in his early 70s. So you gotta you're like, do we recast him or kill the character? Or what do we do? That's why I'm like, is Harrison Ford really playing this character, or people think he is? Because I'm like, okay, what? Like, I have an idea. Let's cast him with the guy who's 10 years older.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it'd be funny to just keep recasting this character. I mean, because even at some point, even if Harrison Ford lives to like 110,
Yeah.
at some point, like post 85, I don't think he's gonna be able to do much.
Yeah, he'll eventually retire and spend time with Ally McBeal.
What?
Spend his waning years with Ally McBeal. So,
heard they're de-aging Harrison Ford. He's going to be the dancing baby from Ally McBeal. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. I loved Ally McBeal when it came out.
I never really watched it. I just never. I like the Futurama version better.
Yeah. I would say Ally McBeal. My suspicion is that it is terrible in retrospect. Like,
I feel like probably most shows are when you think about it, but like, you want a fun fact about Ally McBeal? Do you remember that? Like, what's his face was getting a comeback because of it? Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And then he, I guess that's when like the real big drug scandal happened. And he ended up in jail, but he had like a big comeback in Ally McBeal. He ended up going away a couple of years, and then he did that Kiss Kiss Bang Bang movie, and then he got Iron Man.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah, Ally McBeal. I remember he had like a big comeback. He was on there for like a year or two, whatever.
Yeah, I remember. You know, it's funny. I was just trying to remember, like, have I seen Calista Flockhart in anything? But she was really good in Supergirl. I saw her.
She like, so it was funny. She was on the show for the first season.
Yeah.
When it was on CBS.
Yep.
I guess it didn't do well enough for it to be on CBS, but then CW was like, that's fine. We'll take the show and put it on here. But the show, season 2, ended up being a CW show. Yeah. But because it was on CW and it was cheaper, they moved it to Canada. And Calista Flockhart was like, fuck that. I was filming this in LA. I'm not filming this in Canada. Right. She agreed to do a little bit. She agreed to show up for like a couple episodes of season 2. And then it turned into like one episode here and then the episode. But I will say this, she was cool enough to come back for the last episode when literally no one was watching it and the budget was like $4. She still showed up for a little scene. So
good for her. Yeah.
Cool on her. Very charitable.
Yeah. And by then I think they were just paying actors in something called Sorbucks, which were Kevin Sorbo themed NFTs. So
that sounds like a horrible idea. Speaking of NFTs, crypto.
Yes.
Did we talk about the Trump ones last week?
No. We may have, but since then,
did we talk about Trump's NFTs last week? I swore we. Maybe I don't know. We'll talk about it real quick, but like one of the funniest things about it was there was this like huge announcement. It was a huge announcement, and he's like, I have a big reveal tomorrow. It's a big deal. And then there was like this ad that he put out of him like talking. There was like a Tim and Eric bit or something.
Yeah.
Like there's him. He's talking to cameras like, "Hi, it's your favorite president. Hopefully, more favorite than Abraham Lincoln
Washington,
or
yeah.
George Washington. I want to announce my NFT collection." I was like,
talking about it
so
making a great Christmas
fucking
gift.
pathetic. And then they show all the NFTs of like him as a superhero with the laser eyes.
Oh my
And
god.
then it's like a boxer, and then like
Well, have you seen
him as
all
an
of those?
astronaut.
All of those were stock images that were for sale, and he just stole them.
What? He didn't even pay the person for the art?
No, they were, if you Google Trump NFT stock image or whatever, they were all, you can see the original images. They just like literally cut and pasted his face over other stock images.
Oh, you mean like it wasn't Trump on it originally?
No, it was like pictures of some dude, and they like flipped out Trump's face.
It looked really shittily done. Like it didn't look like, oh, that's so pathetic. I know the whole thing is like, come on, this whole thing is like money laundering. First of all, who would pay for this? Supposedly they all sold out. But my favorite part of the whole thing, he's talking about like how you can win a chance to have dinner with him, but he's like, no, why you would want to have dinner with me?
Right.
I appreciate his modesty there. It's pretty awesome how humble he's been over the past couple of years. But man, that commercial is one
so
of,
sad.
I tweeted, I was like, this was a former president. Like, okay, you can debate about the Clinton Foundation or whatever like that, but that's kind of like what former presidents are supposed to do, or they become like ambassadors. They just chill, paint cats or whatever,
right?
Like Bush did or whatever. You don't cheapen it by doing one, not even like he's selling like actual coins, like those, what were those
from the
collectible
Franklin
coins? Yeah, and supposedly like those were like could be used as currency, supposedly. Sure. Yeah. People be like in a store, be like, "What the fuck is this?" It's Elizabeth Taylor on a coin. What are you talking about? An actual dollar. Get the fuck out of my store. I paid $100 for it. You're a fucking idiot. Like that's the kind of shit. And this guy's like selling air.
Well, it's just such a weird time to be like NFTs were real hot, and then
we were told they were hot.
They were hot though. They were moving around and whatever. And then they were
in spring of 2021.
Right.
They were at their peak.
But for over a year now, NFTs have been like dead in the water.
Not even like, it's funny because like I remember like by the end of last year, they were already like, okay, these are stupid.
Yeah.
And then like by basically early winter this year, it's early spring, a lot of this was the funniest thing about 2022. When it came to NFTs, is a lot of companies like major brand media and stuff like that. They were like convinced they had to make these like big projects,
right?
Hire artists to make these really intense artwork and animations, try to like really like make them special, whatever. And the joke was by the time they released these things, which was like mid to late spring of 2022, people were like, "What the fuck is this shit? Yeah. Really? You guys are fucking doing this?" And the joke, like, if they were smart, they would have like shit them out and did them like in the summer last year, not.
They take like 10 minutes to make. It's not like you're commissioning someone to like.
But they did. I mean, listen, they wanted to do it right.
Yeah.
That's not what NFTs were ever supposed to be. I mean, I remember, like I said, when I was first introduced to them by this one artist who was really big into them, he tried selling me on it. And the thing that he sold me on was the fact that like, here's one that went for $700K. And I was like, and it was literally just like a simple pixel drawing. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, no, that's bullshit. No, it's bullshit. No one's buying this. Like, this is money laundering. Like, there's some bullshit. You find out the Beeble thing, like the 69 million. You find out there was like, he was in on it with some other dude. Like, it's like corrupt as shit. Like, all that stuff was bullshit. I mean, there were people who were taken for a ride and they spent their actual money on them. But it's just, like you said, it's funny that NFTs have kind of became exactly what people who knew what was really up said these are pogs.
Yeah.
The joke was pogs came and went. Pogs, I don't even think survived even like a year in the late 90s. I remember when pogs came out. And no joke, I remember going to like not Hot Topic, but like one of those stores in the mall. And they had like a bucket of them. And I bought it was Sips and Pogs, which was funny because that episode of when Bart's like Millhouse is like, look, it's Alf, he's back in Pog form. I bought a bunch of like they were like a nickel each. Like I remember getting like one that it was like the kid from the what was that organization where like people like it's like Big Brother or whatever it was, like where like a guy would like I don't know, hang out with a kid or something.
Oh yeah, Big Brother, Big Sister.
Big Brother, yeah. There was an episode of that. And there was a kid named like Peppy or something.
Oh Lord.
And I remember getting that one and being like, it's from that episode. And like just getting them for like they were like a nickel, like they were completely fucking worthless.
Yeah.
And the joke was after like 6 months, they were fucking, it's like the fidget spinner. Remember those things? Like they were huge for like a minute. And then
or those,
really hard. And then they just couldn't get rid of them. It's like people were like, they're cool, but after like, spinning it for 5 minutes.
Well, I was cleaning out a room the other day and I found a box of Pixie's my daughter's old fidget toys. These little popping
my son had a bunch of them.
There's like I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's probably like I know it's not a ton of money, but I'm like, there's like $60 or $70 worth of like nonsense here.
Yeah. Like, who knows, 20 years from now, you might be like, oh, you got that one fidget spinner, it goes for $4.
Well, it's like nostalgic at that point. You like pull them out of the attic and you're like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
And then whatever.
But the thing about NFTs is you can't do that.
You can't pull them out of anything.
They're not a thing.
They're not a thing. They don't exist.
People who got them and they're like, oh, they're in a wallet. And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What wallet? Like they couldn't even get their NFTs that they supposedly bought.
Right, yeah.
They couldn't even get them. So it's funny for Trump to release them like a year after they've already been considered a joke. Like
that's the
said,
timing
so
of it. So
I mean, you got a joke of a former president. The guy literally just lost his party the midterms.
Like, why do NFTs now? What is wrong with you? Like,
there's clearly money laundering going on here.
Yeah, true.
It's just, I mean, it's funny. That's why like satire and all that shit, like Trump just writes himself.
Yeah, true.
Like SNL, I watched the clip. They did it. They had the guy who does an amazing Trump impression.
Yeah.
He did the whole thing and he literally basically did the commercial word for word. The only thing he did was add like, it might be a scam. Yeah, most likely it is. No, it's definitely a scam.
But no, it was the same treatment they gave Sarah Palin with Tina Fey, where they basically are like, no, just say what they said.
This guy is really good because he captures like Trump's ADHD. Like, just run like just nonstop nonsense. Like talk about one thing and it turns to like 6 other conversations. That video of him talking about his NFTs has to be one of the funniest things. I don't know which is funny, this or his announcement for his president.
That was funny too, but the NFT thing to me tops it. That's just hilarious.
I mean, I said, I'm like, did Tim and Eric make this shit, or like it's like a Vic Berger video? Like I can't even. Like, it's basically, he works with Tim and Eric, with Tim Heidecker. I'm like you can't even write it. Like it's like beyond parody.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And the guy was like this is a former president. Like it'd be embarrassing if he was like, hey, it's your former president, Trump. I just wanted to let you know the Burger King has the best 2-for-1 special going on right now. It's really good. It's really tasty. Yum, yum. And it's like, that would probably be a little bit more classier.
Probably.
There's a royalty aspect with Burger King.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
But like, this is not flushable turds. Do you remember when Trump went on about toilets?
Yeah, the toilets being like
people
they used to be so much mightier.
What?
They used to be so much mightier. Like
he said that people have to flush like 10 times or something. It's like they're just like I mean, my whole thing about Republicans is they just want to run out the clock on everything and make it that like nothing ever gets done in government, so that they can like avoid regulations and avoid any so the people that fund them could just get away with murder, literally. And so like Trump was like the best guy because it's like they could just have him go out and he's just gonna say whatever.
Yeah,
and
he'll
he's
just
the
keep
president,
talking.
so we have to listen to him.
He'll just keep talking.
Well, the real problem is the toilets. They used to be a lot more powerful. It's like that woman who on the TikTok I showed you, the Chuds of TikTok found.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't remember like the sky was closer. Now the sky's getting closer or something. And time's moving quicker.
Have you ever noticed?
What did you say that she clearly needs glasses? And she doesn't understand the concept of that she's just getting older.
Right.
Time moves quicker as you get older.
That was it. It was funny because at first you're like, she's insane. But then you're like, no, I think she's just like
dumb.
Accurately describing what it's like to get older.
Yeah, it's like,
but she's baffled by it.
Things are further away. I mean, what'd she say? The things are getting closer?
She'd say like some things are getting closer and other things are getting further away. And she was like talking about all this shit. And you're like, this all sounds familiar because it's like,
yeah, one, get your eyes checked. That might solve that. And two, you need to understand that you're getting a little older.
Yeah, I said it reminded me of like when I was teaching, there's always this anecdote people would say where it was like, we thought Timmy was rock stupid, and then we just realized he needed glasses. So we put him up with
a hearing aid.
Yeah, and we put him in the front of the classroom, and now he's a straight A student, but it's like kind of a anecdotal thing that every teacher hears. And that's basically what this woman was. It's like,
yeah, but I think she might just also be rock stupid.
Yeah.
I think that might be the other problem.
Yeah, that could be too.
All right. So yeah. I know we didn't have that on the list. Oh, I guess speaking of Trump, though, something came out today, right?
Well, they said they did not release his taxes today, but they are going to release him in like a day or two.
What was it? I saw something was released today, and it showed like the past 6 years or something.
Yeah, these are all leaks. Like these are like, you won't see, like when you look at those stories, you don't see his actual tax returns, but they're going to release the actual literal tax returns in a day or two. You'll be able to see the actual form and probably where he signed his name with a crayon and stuff. And that'll be interesting. And apparently, like, I guess like there's this guy on Twitter, Blaine Capshaw, who's really funny. And Trump didn't pay any money in taxes like last year, and he paid like $700 the year before or whatever. And this guy said, like, I've paid more than $750 in taxes every year for like the last 40 years since I've been working, and it's true. Like looking back on it, I'll bet you I've paid more in taxes than Trump. Like
I even report the Baja Blast that gets spit out Taco Bell and the used sauce wraps that they give us.
Well, they said he's basically like, he has all these unsubstantiated deductions, and from what it sounded like to me, it would be like if I paid Pixie, if I paid my daughter $40,000 a year to mow the lawn, and I wrote that off as an expense, and then I told Pixie she needed to pay me rent of like $40,000 a year, and I didn't report that as income, and all of a sudden I'm not paying any taxes anymore. Like,
what did they say too? Like somebody in his administration or whatever basically was so corrupt and like let him get away with it for the first 2 years.
It's basically, there's a law. Apparently, it's a law that says like every president, while president, gets audited, and there's literally a human in charge of doing it for Trump, and he just didn't do it. He said, "No, we don't have the resources." Like, what? Like
it is amazing how charmed this man is. That
run that shit down to H&R Block
of the entire Republican Party, and like just all these guys just like fall on the sword for him.
Well, that is the weirdest thing, because like like that Hugh Hewitt article I was talking about beforehand. Even now, Hugh
Oh,
Hewitt.
Hugh Hewitt. I was thinking of somebody else. I kept on
You're
saying,
thinking of like Chris Wallace or something.
No, not him. It's the other guy, Britt Hume.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about Hugh Hewitt.
Hugh Hewitt's just some fucking turd, and he's
a
on
hack,
multiple stations. He's on like NBC.
Yeah. You see him on.
I know he is like white hair. Britt Hume. Why don't you correct me, Joseph?
I thought you, because that also kind of describes Hugh Hewitt. I didn't.
No, but he's never been an anchor. He's not a poor man's Dan Rather. He's just some fucking like.
So he is like, can't we just not prosecute Trump? Like all of them are like this. They're all like all of them.
Is it necessary to do our job?
Yeah, like some of them will defend Trump. Some of them will do the what about Hillary. Some of them will do the Hunter's laptop. But even the ones that are beginning to come around to reason still can't help themselves. They're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, Trump maybe broke all these laws, but it would hurt so many people if we prosecuted him. Like,
and the joke is, even these ones who supposedly are like straying away from him or whatever, they're all going to fall back in line if he's the nominee.
The minute he's the nominee, they'll fall. But like, it's weird. It's so weird to me that they are so enthralled by this guy who's like the antithesis of everything they stood for. You know, he's like a serial philanderer, liar, makeup wearing, elitist. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
yeah, he's everything that they it's so bullshit. Weird. It's like the Dr. Oz, like running Dr. Oz too.
Right? Yeah. So weird. Like this. I don't know. It's weird to me. But yeah. So we're hearing his. We're going to see his taxes. We found out that he wasn't being audited. You know, when he said he was being audited.
Oh, I'm so shocked that he was lying.
Right.
I can't believe it.
We found out that he's probably not paid any taxes. We've also found out, I think, that like a lot of his businesses lose money, or I don't, who knows. But the Republicans have kind of come out with like a last ditch effort of saying we shouldn't release Trump's taxes because the next thing you know, we might release the Supreme Court justice's taxes.
Yeah, what was the guy's name? Tom. What's his name?
It was a guy from Texas. I had it a second ago. Let's say like Keith Banks or something.
Brady or something?
Keith Brady, maybe. Guy from Texas. Let's see here. There's me calling Hugh Hewitt an idiot. Let's see. There's no, not Dan Bishop. That's some guy from North Carolina, who I also said was an idiot.
Here we go. This is on the Hill.
Kevin Brady.
Yeah, Kevin Brady from Texas, Republican from Texas. This guy looks like Bob Cotton from King of the Hill.
He does.
He does. I guess his way of trying to appeal to the common man about why it's bad that Trump's taxes get out and why it would eventually lead to exposure of other people's taxes. And this is, again, really reaching out to Joe Lunchpail, Susie, I don't know, Countertop.
Homemaker.
Yes, Susie Homemaker. Frankie Soda Jerk.
Joe the Plumber.
Joe the Plumber. Sally the Daytime Hooker. That the Supreme Court taxes might get revealed too. And that's just, what's next? The Supreme Court taxes no one's safe then,
I'm surprised it's not just a law that if you want to run for office, even if you want to run for school board,
or if you want to be in the Supreme Court for life.
Yeah. We should know who you owe money to or where your money came from.
Like I said, I'm sure what's her name? The one who just got in? Katani Brown Jackson?
Yeah.
Is it? Did I just say her name right?
Katan. Oh, now you've got me wondering. Katana Brown Jackson, right? Katanji Brown Jackson.
Yes. Speaking of which, I was corrected by my wife, but we said the name of Glenn Miller or whatever. It's not him in that show. It's not with Tammy Wynette. Is that it?
Oh,
That's not who it was. Is it George Jones? See, now I'm getting it wrong again. Great. Hold on. I'm gonna look this up because it's just funny to like. Hold on. Now I have to look this up. George and Tammy. Okay.
Okay.
George Jones. So a little correction from last week. Little asterisks
There
in
you
the end of
go.
last week. So yeah, like I'm sure we don't have to worry about her taxes or like half the other people in the Supreme Court. But it might be good to know, like, hey, what's the deal with Kavanaugh's taxes?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal with Thomas too, with his wife? Like, what's that about? Like, I think we should, especially Kavanaugh. Like, that was always shady from the start. Like the fact that he had like all this debt and it was paid for right before he
it was weird.
Before he was.
Did you see that congressman who was recently elected in New York, who like lied about everything on his resume?
Yes. I saw that. Supposedly, like Glenn Greenwald like came out and was like, what's funny about what Glenn Greenwald wrote, which is like the laziest thing. He literally copied and pasted and changed some text around. He wrote like he's young, Brazilian, gay, and he's gonna drive the Democrats crazy.
Yeah.
And he literally wrote the same exact thing for Christian Walker.
Lord.
Like a year ago. He said he's young, he's black, he's gay, he's gonna drive the Democrats crazy.
Well, this guy,
that he copied and pasted.
This guy loaned his own campaign $700,000, and like best I can tell, he's never held a job. Like, where'd that money come from? Like, where'd that money come from?
Everything's fake, right? The whole thing.
Yeah, his education, his job, his charity, his everything.
So
they're not even certain he's a citizen. Frankly,
he's seated though, right? He'll be in Congress.
Yeah, he will be on January 3rd.
There's no way of getting him out, right?
No.
Even though he lied and he's complete fraud.
Not against the law to lie. Well, they did
not
say
against the law to lie. You sure about that?
He lied on campaign finance forms, that's a crime. But he's
a Republican though. He'll get
away. He's a Republican,
yeah.
It's Chinatown.
What?
It's Chinatown.
Yeah.
It's like the end of that movie with Jack Nicholson.
You mean the one that took place in Chinatown?
Yeah. Well, it didn't take place it took place. Jake Gittes used to work in Chinatown, and the movie takes place in Los Angeles, not in Chinatown, on a different part of Los Angeles.
Chinatown in Los Angeles?
There is, but none of it takes place in Chinatown. And at the very end, he got out of Chinatown because like everything was corrupt and nothing ever changed. And he felt like an outsider in Chinatown. And so at the end, the other cop's like, hey, forget about it. It's just he basically saying it's just like Chinatown. You're not going to change anything. Well, cinema trivia there. Anyway, I don't know. I think all taxes should be released for all elected.
Everyone. If you can't release it, then what's up with that?
Yeah, definitely at the federal level. Like, should the school board members release their taxes? Probably.
It might not be a bad idea to
I'm less
about some of these people.
Yeah, I'm less like worked up over that, but like they probably should. Or I don't know, there should be some way of saying like, where's this money coming from? So I don't know. We'll see. I think it's just really funny that the Democrats have the House for like 9 more days, and we're finally going to get to see Trump's taxes. It's a nice
that was weird.
Nice little fuck you on the way out the door. Nice.
Yeah, fuck it. You might as well just put everything in. Just put everything through.
Yeah.
If you put it through, doesn't the Senate have to like respond to it?
Yeah.
And technically, is the Senate like still democratically run?
And will be, yeah.
And it will be, even with the free spirit, independent Kristen Sinema.
Oh Lord. The Senate staying in the Democrats' hands is a huge deal.
Well, it's a big deal because of judges, and it allows like I know. Were we talking about this, or someone saying like Sotomayor should retire?
Yeah. I've heard that because she's older and she's like got some health issues.
Oh, but Democrats like that. They love when they're old and they have tons of health problems.
Yeah.
So we could all just. But I mean, at this point, it doesn't even fucking matter because it's a 6-3 court.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Sotomayor. I'd keep her on the bench, I guess. I guess you have like a couple years. The other big thing about the Senate staying in the Democrats' hands is that you kind of dodge the issue of impeachment.
Well, that's like just ridiculous.
It is, but like that bogs down everything. And like at least this way, if the House goes off the rails and they're like impeach, the Senate could be like, yeah, we'll take this up at some point in the future and then just ignore it. You know, I mean, like it's a big deal. Almost as a big a deal. I'm gonna do one of my awkward transitions here. Almost as a big a deal as was Elon Musk's poll as to who should run Twitter.
Yeah, I heard he really honored it.
Yeah, it was just so.
People were like posting the Vox Popula, whatever the fuck he says. What is that? Vox Pop?
Yeah, but yeah, basically like whatever the people say, I'll accept. Or yeah, there's a Latin
funny
expression.
How all the ones that he wanted, the people went along with it. But when there was something he didn't want, oh no, that's wrong. The people didn't want that.
It is weird though, like whenever he put up his shitty little polls, like, should I reinstate Baked Alaska? Should I reinstate this guy? Everyone's like, yeah, reinstate. Like all those polls went super chud. But then this one, like 60% of the people wanted him. I wonder if like, because I never voted in the like, should we readmit Trump or whatever, reinstate Trump. I didn't vote on it because I'm
that's why we got Trump back, dude. You said
I was
that,
like, no, I was just like,
people didn't vote for Hillary in 2016. You're just as bad.
Maybe. Anyway, I don't know. 60% of the people want Elon to turn it over to another person.
Yeah, he's not going to.
He's not going to.
And if he does, it'll be bullshit. It'll be like some, be like when Putin left the presidency and had some other dude for a couple of years.
I'll tell you, that Twitter stock has tanked. Real people are losing real money.
Tesla stock is tanked.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, what did I say? I thought I
said Twitter.
Oh, yeah. There is no Twitter stock. Tesla stock has tanked. And that's real life people. This is the golden moment to start selling electric cars. They're becoming more popular. States are beginning.
That's always been the thing, is that the minute the major car companies start getting more into it, Tesla's days was kind of done. Tesla fucked up. They, like I said this from day one, and I'll fucking anyone that says like, oh, why don't you just get it? Like, if we care so much about the environment, we get a Tesla. Why don't you do this? And I'll be like, because they're not practical.
Yeah.
He didn't make them practical. He could have made them practical if he truly cared about the carbon footprint and lower emissions and everything like that on the planet. If Elon Musk really cared about this, one, he never would have been the second or first richest man in the world.
True.
Because he would have like put all the money back into like, I'm gonna make sure that
research and
charging stations. There's like studies on like having roads charging, like where roads can charge the car. Yeah. Kind of like that. There was this awesome video game I used to play. It was kind of like Outrun or one of those games.
Oh, yeah.
You shot at things though. I forgot what it was called. It was an awesome game. You're in this red car and you shoot at things coming at you, and it was super fucking hard. But it had these little bars, and you would run over them, and it would give you gas. Basically,
was it Spy Hunter?
No, Spy Hunter was like overhead.
Yeah,
top down. This was more like a traditional race game.
Oh.
But you shot things. It was such a good game. But I remember that you ran over those bars, and it gave you, or like Mario Kart, same thing. Yeah. It's like parts when you run over, it makes a car go faster.
Right.
He could have done that. He could have done all these things. He could have, and the other big one, he really cared about electric cars and changing the market a decade earlier. What Obama should have done, because that's the thing too about Musk. He's only rich because of those government subsidies.
Yeah,
and he
and his parents.
Yeah, well, his parent,
and apartheid.
Well, the extra money I guess he made outside of the stuff, being child of wealth. is the government subsidies. And he'll be, of course, the type who will tell you to like not rely on government. Like he's that kind
right,
of
right.
arrogant.
Bootstrap it.
Yeah. Everyone else should bootstrap it. Just ignore the fact that like, I've been like squelching up your tax dollars basically made me rich.
Yeah.
And it should have been a provision in there for Tesla that you have to have on the market by like 2015 the equivalent of the Honda Civic.
Yeah.
A more economy-based car that the average person can have. And that's how you know he would be serious about electric driving technology and perfecting it and making it better. Now, of course, who knows? It probably could have been a bunch of shit boxes. It doesn't matter. The effort was not there. Like I said, I remember like months ago seeing some guy writing him, and he's like, when are you going to put out the more affordable one? And he writes this bullshit like, oh, now's not the time because of inflation. It's like,
right.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Like, I hope that guy read that's like,
yeah, come on.
Here. Or he probably was like, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to hold my breath. Oh, I'm dead because I hold my breath. Like, well, so I hope that like every, Biden recently gave some speech or something. I think he did like a dig at Musk. And he basically did a dig at Tesla and was talking about car companies that were pushing electric technology and everything like that. And he said union backed.
Right, yeah.
Which is a total dig at Tesla.
Well, even if Tesla made good, affordable cars, Elon Musk is still guaranteed that like 30% of the population won't even consider buying a Tesla.
But it could have sped. I'm saying that Tesla could have sped it up. They could have been the true leader of it. So even if like Ford or Toyota, any of these other companies come in with theirs and they're ready to go, Tesla would have been like already well armed with like, we got the luxury, we got the standard, we got the economy or whatever, and they would have been taken seriously more. But nope, kept the luxury, the poorly made, like you hear like the things don't seal right, the doors, right, like misaligned, shit's like just glued on. So it just allows these other companies to come in and just who know how to make cars, have fucking a century of experience making cars,
right?
And they're just gonna crush Tesla. Yeah,
it is weird.
If you're like a Kia or Honda or Toyota or Ford driver, there's probably a good chance if you like those cars, there's a good chance that you'll probably just stick with it and get the electric model at some point. Well, instead of jumping, you'd be like, why the fuck would I go to Tesla?
Well, there's talk amongst people that Musk may eventually have to jettison Twitter or become less involved in Twitter because he's harming Tesla greatly, and frankly, like SpaceX, I mean, a lot of these companies, real life companies with stockholders and shareholders and interested parties, they're losing like a ton of their own money because Elon Musk can't shut the fuck up.
Did you see Neil deGrasse Tyson's Dick Rider Elon tweet?
No, I didn't.
Let me find it. Elon. So I did tweet the other day. I said, how much does a Dick Rider get paid? Elon Musk Dick Rider get? There's like a whole bunch of them on there. Even Kyle Rittenhouse became Elon Dick Rider.
Yeah.
I'm like, does it pay? Is it like a lucrative? Is there like
that one guy responded to your tweet where he said they do it pro boner?
Yeah, that one's good.
I saw that. And I wasn't gonna think of that. I'm not saying like I was gonna say that first.
No, but you can't top that.
But yeah, I was like, well, what do you even say here? Like, what do you even do?
I mean, all you could do is like, I don't know, carry the baton, take it to the next step. I don't know.
But eventually someone's going to make some sort of reference in which pricing intersects with dicks, and I'm going to bust out my pro boner joke. Like, that's in my mental Rolodex of jokes to use at one point for sure.
Let me see if I can find Neil deGrasse Tyson. Here we go. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is just weird. He's a weird dude.
He is. He's real smart though. I like him for the most part.
Yeah, but I don't know. He's part of that weird internet culture, like
Yeah, yeah.
He's definitely more on the progressive side, but this kind of tweet makes you realize he sucks. While casting shade on Elon Musk for what he's done, is doing or will do, try to pause and remember that he made electric cars a normal thing in society, and he commercialized space for cargo, satellites, and people. Count him among those who are inventing civilization's future.
Yeah, no.
What's that thing he does? That meme,
right? No thanks.
Like, the fuck out of here. People like Dick Ryder, like
Dick Ryder.
Like you say, commercializing space like that's not a dystopian phrase.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Like, I would imagine he would be against that. Actually,
anytime anyone in a movie is commercializing space, it's because they're evil and they want to sell alien predators.
Here we go. Fun fact: the Nissan Leaf was introduced in Japan and the United States in December 2010 and has sold 577,000 of this single model of an average price of $22,000.
Yeah.
He also did this without $465 million in loans from the United States Department of Energy. I even wrote that too. I said that I wrote kind of what I was just talking about. I don't know where my tweet is. I did respond to him, not like it matters.
Yeah.
But I basically said, I'm like, first of all, you're making it sound like he did this he got huge government subsidies and was able to just sell luxury cars to assholes. I mean, he's a grifter. He'll move on to the next thing. I think he'll completely, if Tesla was smart, they will try every fucking way to get him out of that position.
Well, he's just so toxic to so many people.
No one's going to take that company seriously anymore.
I mean, he is just this whole weird notion that he was like, at first people were thinking he might be a progressive and then at least a centrist. And now he's literally taking policy advice from a weirdo white nationalist account named Cat Turd and showing up with Jared Kushner at some sort of Saudi.
It was I thought it was the fucking world.
It was at the World Cup. Yeah, it was in.
Yeah, but he's in a box seat with Jared Kushner and the Saudis, and I'm just like, I tweeted this thing which I think got buried. I said him and Jared are afraid they're gonna get Khashoggi'd.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just
Jared Kushner is pretty much responsible for that guy getting killed. He closed his eyes and let them kill that guy.
Yeah.
So
he's a shit person.
I mean, always fucking do you remember like I said, I remember, and I think we talk about this before during the beginning of the podcast, but I just remember Obama years when the right wing would just jump on
call him a communist or a Marxist.
Yeah, no, but they would jump on him for kneeling or holding hands. Whatever, but whatever that is, and the leader in the Saudi, but they're quiet when it's a Republican power or a right winger doing Elon or something, and they're all of a sudden they're fine with that. They're or they'll be that's not true. It's not true. There's a photo. Right there.
Yeah, you get Kevin McCarthy pinned down.
I wonder, it's funny because he went to them and then he saw that, and then that picture, he puts that poll out. Do you want me? There's that photo that goes out about him where he's with them at the World Cup.
Yep.
Showing up there with the Saudis, who basically gave him most of a ton of money to buy Twitter.
Yep.
And then obviously they want return on their investment, I'm assuming.
Sure.
I would imagine they would, or something, I don't know. I would imagine they would like some return.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, shortly after, he puts out that poll, would you want me to basically step down or not? And then he, of course, at majority, Vox, what is it? How do you say it?
Oh,
Vox vote.
Yeah, Vox Populi is I forget the expression, but he has this little Latin expression he puts.
Yeah, he used that when he let Trump back on, even though Trump has not come back on, which I think is really funny. He said all of a sudden, and then the votes were against him.
Yeah.
So then he's puts out this thing basically, or one of his chuds, Kim.com's you should charge people to vote, and he's that's not a bad idea. I'm you think I give a fuck about voting in a Twitter poll?
Yeah.
You think I give a shit? I wouldn't pay for that.
It's ridiculous. I mean, part of it's weird how things play out because and I can't tell if this is like my own psychology or like just in my own head, or if this feels correct, but like when before Elon Musk ran Twitter, the conservatives were complaining about Twitter and it stifled them. And now that Elon Musk owns Twitter, they're still complaining about the same shit, And I don't know, it just feels like having Elon Musk run Twitter would be kind of a nice galvanizing moment if he weren't banning people left and right.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Like out of nowhere last Thursday, he banned like a ton of like, more leftist leaning, but a ton of actual reporters for like major news organizations.
Yeah, like straight up news organizations.
Yeah, straight up reporters. He banned them, and it just came out of nowhere. He claimed that it started supposedly with like the Elon's Jet account. Some weird kid who's like a fan of his or something.
Yeah.
And it is kind of creepy. I think it's weird. Like, I don't need to see Elon. I don't know. Elon's Jet's the whole concept's weird about that.
Yes.
And supposedly the kid was like trying to like give him like not a car, but like a tour of the facility.
It did seem weird, like almost like a shakedown. Like I'm gonna post where you eat lunch until you give me $100. Like
supposedly the information he's sharing is not information we can't get.
Yeah, it's all free. I mean, it's
just that he made an account. So I guess other people like were reporting it, and then like one guy, Matt Bender, he got kicked off for literally retweeting another reporter. He was banned because of that. And then the funny thing is, I guess Twitter Space had a whole thing about it where they interviewed a bunch of the Twitter Spaces, which I guess people could do like these live like colons or type thing. Join in. And he I think it was led by someone from BuzzFeed, and they interviewed, and then like Matt Bender and a couple other people who were banned showed up in the Twitter Space. They just, because the thing is, I guess like Matt Bender said his account it wasn't like suspended completely. It was like the kind of like when your account's suspended, but like you can't tweet, you can't.
Right. You can still log in, but you can't.
But unlike me, where I'm like told like, okay, I can't tweet for like a week or something. I'll be back in a week. His was like, who knows?
Right.
It was just gone. Like you couldn't do anything. But he was able to get into Twitter Spaces. And again, it exposed Elon as being an idiot for firing all these people. Because now you had no one monitoring the Twitter Spaces.
And you had no way of deactivating their accounts. Like it was a different.
Well, like I said, their accounts still exist, but they shouldn't be able to go into Twitter Spaces. But because like Elon like got rid of the team or whatever that worked on it, they were able to get in. And I guess Elon went on there and talked, and they asked him a question. He got pissed and left. And then that day, he shut down Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, every user couldn't use Twitter Spaces because he got owned in a Twitter space.
Not even owned.
Just mildly questioned. Well, some people go there. That's why, I think that's why a lot of wealthy people freak out at a McDonald's or whatever, because they've gone their whole lives without ever being questioned, or told no or anything like that. And so when they finally come up against it, they don't know what to do. They're just stunned or flabbergasted or something.
So I'm just looking at the snow.
Coming down hard?
I don't see flakes. It must be a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it's covered. What's awesome about my house is that the sun, sets on the front of our house.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing melts, and the sun is stronger. I'm probably gonna have to I should be wearing SPF more often. Because the thing is, you gotta realize I'm closer to the sun than you are.
Oh yeah.
Believe it, which sounds so stupid, it's 1 mile. But get there quicker.
Yeah.
I never have to shovel my walk.
Nice.
It's gone. I mean, I shovel it sometimes in the morning if I need it gone, but
right.
I don't. And the people across the street from me, it's like Hoff. They're It hasn't snowed that insane yet, where like there's a foot, 2 feet of snow. I think the most I've seen it so far has been like 5 inches. What I heard is in Colorado, it has snowed early. It's been more extreme this year. It has snowed earlier this year. Usually the most snow is in February and March.
That's traditionally the more snowy months. Have you seen that guy on TikTok who plays the warrant officer on Hoth?
No.
He's the guy who tells Han that he shouldn't go out alone because his tauntaun will freeze before the first
right,
marker.
And Han says, "I'll see you in hell."
Yeah, and so the guy's
like, people are like, "Hell exists in Star Wars."
The guy is sitting there, and so
that'd be a Wikipedia page to like explain hell in Star Wars.
Another guy comes up and he's like, "Did Han just tell you to go to hell?" Like he's like, "Yeah, he's such a dick. All I was trying to do was like warn him that it was really
that you're literally going to die. It is below freeze. Your tauntaun won't last 5 minutes.
See me in hell. Like, what a dick. Like, anyway, it's pretty funny. It's pretty
I'd be like, fucking asshole.
Right. I'm trying to help you here. No, anyway. Yeah, I don't know where the Twitter thing goes. I don't think Twitter's gonna lose Elon anytime real soon. I think it is losing money hand over fist.
But it has to be humiliating. I mean, listen, there's all these dick riders on there, Elon Musk dick riders, but even that's humiliating. It's like,
but it's all these losers. It's like,
like
Miles Chong, and the quartering,
and Miles Chong,
and Rittenhouse. It's like the loserest losers on Twitter are all like riding his cock, and anyone worth their while is just like dismissive of him. Well,
as someone said, like he doesn't. If you look at his tweets, he only responds to like the right wing chuds. So I said, does he have like a list? Because he responds to these people like the Hodge twins and like
it's just so weird. Like
all these like weirdo right wing grifters. It's super weird. I'm like, how does he know all these people? And how does he have all the? This guy should have no time in the day to know any of these fucking people are.
Yeah, the myth is always that he's working like 15 hours a day. Well, the other thing is that he has, and this is a little scarier. Remember when he proposed his big peace plan for the Ukraine, which was basically like Ukraine needs to deal with it and like give their country to Russia. Like
and then the day after, all of a sudden he had the money he announced he was buying Twitter.
Yeah, it's just so a lot of places around the world rely on Twitter to communicate and to like that's how a lot of like political stuff gets done. It sucks that it's in the hands of a white nationalist chud. That sucks. So.
And that's weird too, because I'm like, is he really a white nationalist? Like, I just don't picture him having like fucking.
Well, he's
like
probably
Mein Kampf on his bookcase. I don't think he has that.
I think that's got to be built in his DNA, though, coming up from parents.
Well, I think there might be some ingrained racism, but I think part of it is just he's just an asshole.
Yeah.
And these people are assholes, so it's like,
so
and they're sucking up to him, so it's like, I don't know. I just can't picture, But again, I also said the same thing about like Trump. I was like shocked. I'm like, wait, he's like, I mean, I knew he was an asshole and he was like a birther douchebag.
Yeah.
But like, why does he have like actual Nazis? But then he goes into his past and you realize, oh yeah, he's pretty fucking racist. Like this is just getting exposed more,
right?
But I don't know. I just can't picture this guy being like, he's just like a dork. I mean, he could be, the joke is at a later age, he could be falling into this more over the past couple of years. He could just falling into this and being like, oh yeah, this is right.
Yeah, I think too, like a lot of, I don't know. He's such a creep.
Real quick, do you use it anymore, or are you like you're using it less?
I use it a lot less. I do use it. I'll tell you the one thing I definitely use it for is quick reactions and stuff like that. I used to like tweet all the time. I mean, like I probably would tweet all throughout the day, and now I find myself a lot of times about to like I type out the tweet and then I just hit like cancel or delete or whatever.
You're like,
Just
you got it out of your system.
Yeah, I got it out of my system, and I'm like, well, with so I saw some guy bitching about like Michelle Obama trail. I'm not having some North Carolina Republican doesn't want to pay for North Carolina, doesn't want to pay for Michelle Obama trail.
What the hell is that?
It's in this big omnibus bill that they're passing. It funds like all the shit for the whole year of the whole government. So if you dig in it, you're gonna find bullshit, you know. And one of them is that they're paying for like a nature trail, Michelle Obama Trail. I forget where it is, probably in Illinois or something. It's like a nature trail in federal land. Well, shit like that happens all the time. That's how you get like the George W. Bush Expressway, or you get like shit like that, right?
It in, and it's like whatever party's in control, they sneak in like the legacy names in there,
right? And that happens. I mean, whatever. It's probably not but anyway. So I get ready to I look him up, and he's got like a long history of like, he wants to sponsor, the Buford T. Justice Memorial Freeway or something, and he has no problem celebrating the rich culture of like the Klan. But the minute they're going to name a nature trail after Michelle Obama, he freaks out.
Oh, heavens to Betsy.
Right. And so I'm about to like tweet my response to him. And then I'm like, what am I doing here? He doesn't care what I think.
Right, exactly.
He's like, he does this. He's not going to be like, that's a valid. You're right. I am being a little hypocritical.
You have melted this
right,
cold-hearted. I don't know. Yeah, and I know. I find myself replying less to people. And if I have something I want to say, I'll just quote tweet it and comment. I find myself like responding less because one, I feel like half the time they'll just get buried because I'm getting my account. Like I was told, someone told me that my account gets like what they call it, where they like put you down as like a comment that's not like
like a downvote or something.
Yeah, like they won't show it. It won't be revealed. Only my followers see it. So that I find it like a waste of time to tweet reply. So if I want to say something and I want anyone to actually see it, I'll just quote tweet it.
Another thing,
honestly, the best thing to do sometimes is just do a screenshot and don't give them the actual quote tweet.
Yeah. So I'm on it a lot less. I'm definitely still on it, and I've always kind of said I'm still on it. But I post on Post News. I do post.
How does that work? I just don't want to start another fucking.
It's like Twitter.
I joined Hive. Hive finally came back, but like I feel like the momentum was just fucking squashed. That momentum, like it was working. It was at the right moment where people were just super pissed at Musk. And then all of a sudden, it shat the bed.
Here's the interesting thing about Post News. One is that a lot of journalists are on it. And two is that it's very moderated. Like you can't like post anti-vax stuff on there. It's a moderated site. And it works kind of like Twitter. I don't love the interface, but it does work like Twitter. And the big key difference, and you may or may not like this, is it allows for microtransactions.
What does that mean?
They start you off with like 50 points. And I don't know what a point is. I don't know if it's a penny or $1 or whatever, but you start with points. And then you can purchase points if you want. And then you can tip people. So like that Ben Collins.
Are you actually paying them?
You can pay them, yeah. It's all free. Like, but just imagine if Twitter had
like actual money.
Yeah. Imagine if Twitter, sometimes you click on a link and it's through a paywall.
Yeah.
You can charge the company can charge per article that way if they wanted to. Or you can tip people. Like if you think someone's a really great contributor, you can tip them. So that part is like a little weird for me to get used to. I've never run across anyone charging for anything. But
there was another app that was like that and it involved like crypto or something. I forgot what it was called, Mines or something.
I don't remember that
I
one.
signed up for a minute and then I saw like the biggest backers were like Tim Pool, and I was like, I'm not using this shit.
They said that on this one that they're kind of like feeling their way with it, you know. So anyway, when I got my 50 points, and like I said, I don't know if that was like 5 cents or $50, whatever. Everyone gets 50 points to start. That Ben Collins, who I like a lot, got suspended from Twitter.
He did. He got suspended. Well, then the fucked up thing was like NBC, like went along with Twitter and like said this guy's not allowed on. I was like, what the fuck, man?
So he posted a little heartbreak symbol on Twitter, and then you didn't see him anymore. And then he did a couple posts on Post News, and one of them was like, I'm going to go to this bowling alley and have a beer or whatever. And I tipped him my 50 points. I said, let the first drink partially be on me, or I forget how I said it.
Well, okay, so you give him 50 points, but does that 50 points translate to money?
Yeah, you can exchange it. It's an exchange. So like, I could buy more points if I want.
But you basically gave him your free 50 points.
Yeah, I gave him my free 50 points. Could have been a nickel, could have been, I don't know what it was. But Ben or whoever should be able to cash out his points with Post News and get cash back. So
is it worth using as an artist?
I would say no, less so as an artist.
I mean, the funny thing was Twitter, I heard in the beginning, was worthless as an artist, but then I found that my political art thrived better on Twitter.
Yeah, actually, I take that back because
certain artwork thrived on Twitter better, and I did end up getting some gigs through Twitter. Not lately, but in the past I've had.
You can definitely you can post photographs. I posted a photograph of one of my dogs and it got like 27 likes. It was the most number of likes I've ever gotten on Post News. I will say that it definitely rewards longer posts. Like there's no character limit.
So can anyone go on there and basically get tips? Or do you have to have like a certain amount of followers?
Nope. I can receive tips. I could ask for tips. I could say, hey, I need gas in my car. Help me out, bro. You know, and people could give me money.
But how do you cash this money out?
I've not even looked into it. I mean,
that's what I mean. Like, is it crypto bullshit or is
it's you purchase them in cash. I remember reading that. I don't know, but
I'm assuming if you want like any dollars, it's probably thousands and thousands of these points. I imagine.
But you could also put your Venmo on it. You know, I mean, like you could do any number of things. I'm just saying that there is an in-house system. And from what I understand, the plan is so that artists or not artists, newspaper people could eventually make it so that instead of having to buy a subscription to the New York Times, you can purchase article by article right through this site.
I mean, that's cool. I just don't want to deal with the fucking social media.
Yeah, I would wait. You know, I mean, eventually either Twitter will calm down or the society will agree on a competitor and then join that.
Like how everyone just loved MySpace and with Facebook. I mean, it's inevitable that's why like the Hive thing really disappointed me, because I really truly felt like this is an app that I think could be, you know, like I said, for years I would hear all about these bullshit Instagram clones and like up and coming, and they always were either overtly complicated, they didn't work, they were boring, no one was using them, it had weird content on there. And Hive was like a lot of artists were on there. The interface was pretty easy to use. You could retweet images, and it just shit the bed. And I mean, it's back up. It went back up last week. They had like multiple updates. But I just, like I said, I just feel like the momentum's gone.
I think it's a weird time right now because I joined Mastodon and I posted on there a few times, and I just
don't like it.
I had a fine time, but then I was like, I feel
like I went on the wrong server
Yeah.
I didn't know what server to use. Everything was weird. I'm like, I don't understand any of these servers. They don't let you just change it. You can't change the server.
And
never worked good for me.
Yeah, and the problem I had with it was, I didn't know, not that I have an audience, but I didn't know who I was talking to, like if I was limited in some way. And also there was, on the server I was on, people like, they wanted everything content warninged. I mean, I felt like I was a Republican or something, like everything.
What happened to free speech, man?
Well, yeah, because they'd be like, hey, here, like if you post about the war in Ukraine, you have to write CW.
Yeah, one of the images I posted the what did I post? I think I posted the thoughts and prayer, and they blurred it out. You to click on it to see it.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, look, and so that's why I stopped using Mastodon, because I was like, look, if this is how you guys want to run your site, I respect that. It's not for me, I don't think, but I'm not going to bitch about it, because this is how you built your community, and I'm a guest for now, so good. I wish you all well. And it just wasn't clicking for me. When I went on Post News, I immediately found all the journalists I had been following on Twitter, and that's kind of why I stuck with that. And I stopped. I didn't go. I know that some guy, writer I like, has a new one called Spoutable. That's got a lot of people signed up for it, but I was like, I just don't like the name Spoutable, and Post News is doing it for me for right now. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stay on Twitter, and then eventually, hopefully, someone will either fix Twitter or come up with a better competitor. So.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, it'll just happen one day, and you won't even realize it.
Yeah.
But I feel like anytime you get these bursts of announcements with like some of the more bigger accounts being like, follow me on this, those are all bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
They'll just happen. It'll organically, naturally happen, and you'll see people, as Musk makes Twitter more unusable and bans more people from using it, and people just lose interest. Like you said, I mean, Twitter was big for reporters and stuff, so yeah, who knows? Post News could be probably a good thing, and it's the fact that it's moderated and that like people can't. They're like, yeah, we're not going to cater to anti-vaxxers or whatever.
Yeah, they come up, and the guy who started it has a post basically where he kind of explains what's going on, and he said, look, we're kind of a progressive site. Our content moderation leans towards progressive issues. We like to think of them as common sense, but other people might say they're progressive, like we don't allow vaccination deniers, we don't allow COVID misinformation, we don't allow election misinformation. That's just what we're doing. So it all clicked for me. Interface is a little, the notifications aren't reliable.
I just don't want to. Yeah, I just don't want to. I'm like so sick of it. It's like I'm using Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
I use YouTube a bit for some other things, but like, and then it's like, what else do I have? I swore there's like another thing. I don't know. Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like, and then I have the Hive one. I did something Mastodon account. I don't use that one at all. Hive, I'm like kind of lost. Like I said, that lost steam. I just don't feel like. I mean, listen, a post. Let me know how it is. If you're still using it a couple months now and you tell me this is great, I love it. I'm hardly ever using Twitter. I'll probably check it out.
Yeah.
But right now I'm feeling like, it's just like there's too many. It's like, and a lot of it, you gotta be careful too. You're giving your information to all these people, and like,
yeah,
that's why the Hive thing kind of annoyed me, because I was like, did these guys just like fucking sell our data basically?
Yeah.
Especially like when you give an app access to your camera, like you don't know what the fuck you're gonna do with it. I mean, most of the time they're not doing anything. It's kind of funny. I heard the AI stuff. You hear about this?
Yeah.
The AI companies like Lands and all that. People were like buying the little program to make their portraits and stuff.
Right.
These women are doing that and everything. And they said, and someone pointed out and said, if you read a thing, they basically own your image.
Yeah.
And there's no stopping your face showing up like in a fucking porno in the future.
Yeah. Deep fake. Yeah. Right.
There's no, like, you were literally giving them your face. It says it in their like terms of service. They pretty much own the image.
Yeah.
Which is your face. And you have no idea what they're going to do with it.
Right.
Most people, probably nothing.
Probably not, but I'd hate for my finely curated persona Bong Hit Joe to show up one day as like Bong Hit Blow or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I know, like all those years invested into that,
right?
trying to craft and create the character Bong Hit Joe.
Yeah, the beloved,
beloved, wacky, missing,
Shaggy-esque character that I've
complete
cultivated.
Shaggy ripoff. I mean, pastiche.
Homage. I like to think of it as an homage.
I'm Bong Hit Joe. He has a
dog. Wait a minute.
Is
parody the one where you can get away with it? It's a parody. That's what it is.
Sure, it's a parody. Yeah, and he has a dog named Ruby, who says Scooby Dooby Doo.
Ruby Soho.
He drives around in a van.
Right.
Solves mysteries and crime with Thelma, Daphne, and Cred.
Street cred.
Street cred. That's what he says. I got the street cred because my name is Freddy.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think that's
instead of a ascot.
I think that's probably a safe bet, is to see where people are at in the future, and I'll let you know. Like I said, I have not posted on Post News every day, but I'm getting there. Like I've posted.
The thing is, I use these things for one. I like to know what's going on. That's one thing. Twitter, I think, I find out a lot what's going on with Twitter.
Twitter's so good at that.
But Twitter's becoming less reliable because you have reporters getting kicked off, and you have Musk, and you're getting Republican congressmen and personalities are propped up constantly. I've been saying that for months, and I see more and more people saying, like,
it's true.
What the fuck is like Marjorie Taylor Greene doing in my feed?
Yeah.
Welcome to the club. It's been like that.
I see so many. I see Rittenhouse constantly. I mean, some
people will say like, "Oh, if you respond to them," but I'm like, I think there's some truth to that. But like, responding to them once should not like open the door to like them always on your feed. That doesn't make any sense.
No. Well, I don't know. I'm ready for something new. Hopefully, Post News is it. If not, we'll see. Speaking of Twitter, one thing Twitter does great is highlight the Twitter beefs, and we've seen kind of a fun one lately. Marjorie Troll Greene versus Lauren Boebert.
Boebert.
Now they've been kind of going back and forth at each other on Twitter, right?
The big thing was recently there was a TPUSA thing, and Lauren Boebert was there, and she spoke and everything. Really, just such an amazing speech. You have to see it. So good. She took a big shit on the stage and was like, "That's my duty," and then she just sat in it. I thought that was like insane. I was like, "Holy
on brand."
Yep, that's what the Bobo does. Like, I Boboed on the stage.
Yeah, she did little shooting motions with her fingers. Yeah, great.
Covered in poo. No, she was being interviewed or whatever, and I forgot what the question was. That's something to do with I don't know, but she said something about like, it had to do with Kevin McCarthy or something being in the Speaker of the House or something like that. And they said like Marjorie Taylor Greene backs it or something. Matt Gaetz is like, well, I'm friends with her, but I don't think McCarthy should be like he's been one of the people like, and I think the joke is supposedly like McCarthy has shit on him or something.
Yeah.
Like they think it's obviously it has to be related to the whole Venmo thing. But with Boebert, she's like trying to be like, listen, we're not the same person, me and Greene. Everyone like lumps us together or whatever.
Right.
Like, I don't agree with the Russian space. I mean, the Jewish space.
That's right. Yeah.
And like Jack Posobiec looked pissed, like he was there next to her. And it was just really funny to like her saying that. And I was like, whether it's like the worst person in the world said something right or whatever that mean, or like, I mean, whatever. But then Marjorie Taylor Greene put out a tweet saying basically that like Boebert's like taking money from her and Trump and McCarthy, whatever, never pays back or whatever, never donates. And she then brought up the biggest stinger, which was she barely won her seat by 500 votes.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny. obviously I don't expect anything to come out of it. These
No.
two people suck ass. It's just funny. It's just it's amusing to watch these clowns fight because I mean they're clowns and clowns can be entertaining.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
Well,
buffoons.
they're just in constant need of attention. You know,
Well,
they
that's their whole brand. I mean, if they don't get, they don't really legislate. Like I
it'll
mean,
it will be funny to see them in charge. You know, like I don't.
yeah, I could live without that.
Oh yeah, no, I could definitely live without it.
So
Um,
let's move on to the last thing.
yeah, yeah,
Zelensky came to speak, I guess, and real quick, since we're talking about Boebert, she put out this like weird video. Well, first of all, everyone was clapping when he was talking, and I guess she was sitting next to Matt Gaetz.
yeah.
Both of them were caught looking at their phones,
Yep.
or something like that while that was going on. But she goes on like puts out a video on Twitter. She basically says like, "Oh, what Zelensky's doing is great, and what Russia's doing is terrible." Blah blah blah. And then I'm like, okay, let's hear the butt. Where's this going?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, 50 million went to them, and where did it go? Like, and she starts
Yeah.
going on about like, I demand like an audit or whatever. I want to know where every dime went. But then she brings up this is like where it gets super dumb. She's like, I understand Zelensky's trying to protect his border for his country,
Right.
but Biden's not protecting our border or whatever.
It was a
And I
weird
was
pivot.
like, this is the dumbest pivot ever because it's like you're comparing a small country getting invaded by one of the superpowers in the world and is being constantly bombed and has to fight it. I'm sure all those $50 billion went to exactly where it was supposed to go,
Yeah.
which is right in Zelensky's pocket. No, I was kidding. Yeah, it was weird when he showed up. He had the green shirt, the classic green t-shirt,
Yeah.
but he was fully dripped out. He had all 10 fingers covered in rings. He had the Furby thing from Uncut Gems. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
Or Uncut Gems, as that one lady said.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Uncut Gems or whatever. That's
Gems.
my favorite movie is Uncut Gems. And it was just nuts. He had like grills in his mouth.
Right. Yep.
And he was eating Wagyu steak on the stage and spitting it out. He's like, I don't even need to eat this shit.
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy. No, Boebert, like comparing this guy's country getting invaded, thousands, I don't know how many people were killed so far. It's a lot.
A lot, yeah.
And like lots of parts of the country were destroyed. There's still
people are without water and heat and food, and
the winters here, and a lot of the resources were burned. And it's like you're comparing what's going on in the Ukraine to the make-believe bullshit of what's going on at the border.
Yeah.
People trying to get into the country to probably work the shittiest jobs in the country and just get by and try to make a better life for themselves is not the same as a authoritarian dictator oil company magnate with one of the biggest armies in the world invading a country. That's
even if you think the border's a big deal and that we should do things differently at the border, that's a completely separate issue.
Mexico is not shooting missiles over the border. They're not sending troops. They're not blowing up cities and killing thousands of people. It's dumb.
It's just a completely different issue too. Like if you, I can't even. They're apples and oranges.
It's just dumb flex. Yeah. It's like what is this? Like this is so stupid. And she says it. She's an idiot because she says it in like that matter of fact voice.
Yeah.
Like. Oh, I figured out. She's like, oh, and then she said it was weird. She went on about like, isn't it weird how the sky's getting closer and like time moves faster? I thought it was strange when Boebert said that.
Yeah, it was weird. And then I don't know. She just started
I don't know what her
reciting
problem is because she wears glasses.
Well, I think the odd thing is that like I can't imagine like a modern American perspective that doesn't look at what Ukraine is doing and isn't supportive of it. This is a country that was like doing its own thing, and then it got invaded by Russia. It could be, it doesn't even matter that it's Russia. It got invaded and brutalized and is now fighting back and trying to reclaim its independence from a big foreign adversary. It just seems like that's a very American thing to support. And then the guy is like, look, I don't know Zelensky personally, obviously, but he just looks like such a baller. He's like wearing fatigue pants. He's walking around in a t-shirt, like an army issue t-shirt. And I've seen shots of him, a video of him like handing out rifles to people, literally as they run outside to protect the building they're all in from like Russian tanks and stuff. I mean,
it's like you said to me earlier, I don't know if it's during the podcast or when we were talking before, how this is basically what Zelensky's going through is what right wingers thought was going to happen in the country with Russia, Red Dawn.
Yeah, it was.
Or like this is Zelensky's going through living out the so-called fantasy that these guys want to live, even though I would imagine so. Zelensky, not a fantasy.
Right, yeah.
That he you would think that like basically it's like after 9/11 happened, people honestly thought that this was going to happen in every city in America, and that we would have to like there would be a guy passing out rifles to defend the country.
See something, say something. Yeah, like I thought it's possible that I might be tasked in an airport to like tackle a guy with a shoe bomb or something. Like that. I might have to do that as an American.
Stop a box cutter.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, I'm talking about like people were so scared by the George W. Bush administration after 9/11 because they used it to get people to go to the war, to convince people that they needed to go to the war with Iraq, that they were going to come to like Butt Nugget, Missouri,
right?
Middle of nowhere,
home of the fighting Nuggets,
home of the fighting Butt Nuggets, the fighting turds, as they like, turdlets. And then like nowhere, South Dakota. They thought like, they were gonna come. And actually, it's funny too. I heard like people was making a joke saying that like South Dakota, even though it got brought up, I guess there was like that's where some of the nukes are or something.
Yeah, I think that is true. Yeah, a lot of our silos are
actually, there. I always like my favorite like after 9/11. I was like, why didn't they attack the Statue of Liberty? I'm like, they're not for.
Yeah.
We will crush the American spirit by knocking over the Statue of Liberty.
Right. Well, it is, I don't know. It is odd. And even in the early days of this, you saw a lot of like former military / survivalists volunteer to go fight in Ukraine and stuff. And then everything, the right wing tapped the brakes on it. And they're like, wow.
What was there was a funny tweet you responded to. It was like Eliza Schaefer or something. Oh, like this fucking douchebag. I think he used to be on the Blaze or something. He's just like a right-wing chud.
Yeah.
And he posted this video of like a woman doing a job or whatever, and he was like talking shit about it or whatever, like, oh, the woke mindset or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, like, would you even support a union if it was I think it was a guy doing the job, and he said that a woman couldn't do it. And someone
right.
Actually, women usually do this job. But and I said something like, I forgot what I wrote, but I said something like, would you support these guys if they want to unionize? Probably not. Then you wrote that that they guys like him hire someone on Fiverr to open up a pickle jar for them. They're these tough guys.
Yeah.
Like they're the big, they're fops.
Yeah,
they're all flops, dude.
Are all There's I forget. I've never learned how to pronounce the word. I've read it a lot, like dilettante or something. It's just like it's someone who pretends to be something, And these people are like, they think they're intellectuals, they're not. They think they're tough guys, they're not. They think they're military buffs or support, and they're not. They're just not. They're not any of those things. It's just depressing. I don't know. I watched some of the Zelensky speech. I thought it was real inspiring. Um, Biden looked real dynamic and strong. There's a great, like, obviously choreographed scene of Zelensky and Biden kind of walking down the hallway together as they're going to go address Congress and stuff. It just looks real strong. And Biden, to his credit, has been like pretty unwavering in his support for the Ukraine here.
Because it's a proxy war.
It's just so weird. Like I maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but like,
I mean, the country is being invaded by Russia.
yeah.
Like, how is the United States supposed to respond? Ukraine is a democratically elected country.
Yeah.
And Russia isn't.
Well,
Russia will claim they have democracy, but they don't. They don't.
And this fucks up so much shit. You know, I mean, like, I know the Ukraine's not part of the European Union, but like, things have been chill in Europe for like 70 years, 60 or 70 years, you know? I mean, relatively.
Yeah, this is like the kind of shit that leads up to a world war.
Yeah. I mean, and I look, I know there's been problems. I know that, you know, there's been Serbian conflict, and I'm not saying that it's been whatever. And we've had the Soviets go into Afghanistan and this, that, and whatever. But this looks like World War stuff. You know, I mean, like, it's just bad news. And it
has
affects
the potential to turn into something worse. I don't think it will. I don't
agree.
think it will. But if the potential is there, because you have a superpower invading a country, and it's, I mean, listen, you know, when the United States invaded Iraq, I mean, it was obviously the oil and everything like that, but like, it wasn't like Saddam Hussein was like barely, like, that country probably would have fell apart after 10 years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It would have been like an Arab Spring that would have happened there.
It was, it was a screwy, if I remember right. I think Saddam Hussein was Sunni, and
well, it was like the Sunni and the Shiites or whatever, but
the majority of the population was Shiite, and Iraq was the only Sunni country around. You know, all the other.
We invaded it, and Don Rumsfeld was like, "I don't give a fuck," and like let the country. We invaded it, bombed the shit out of it, and then did nothing to like contain it in any way. Yeah. It just turned to chaos, and it was like, and then that's when people in America were like, learned like, wait,
right.
There are different factions of people there.
Yeah, I remember teaching that.
The same Muslim man.
Yeah, like, I remember teaching that and telling the kids, like, well, you know how with Christians there's like Catholics and Lutherans, and they're like real different. You know, I mean, like, it's similar to that. You know, I mean, like, it used to be that Christians killed each other for stuff like that. You know, I mean, I don't know.
Well, whatever. It was like ignorance on our part, and
yeah,
I'm always like wondered, did they want chaos, or was it like did the Bush administration really truly just want chaos, or were they just so arrogant and so dumb that they didn't see it coming?
Yeah, maybe a mix of both. I don't know.
Yeah, that had to have been someone who was like, "Hey, you know what? Fuck it."
Yeah, I mean,
you'll learn. Maybe you'll never learn.
I don't know. I do know though that the images today were really striking. They were good. And a lot of people are saying that Russia has kind of hunkered down. This war is now like stretching into its second year, you know?
Well, it started in like this early spring.
Yeah.
Last year or this year. So it will.
Yeah, soon it will be going into
this. It'll go into its second year.
Yeah. And they say.
Go ahead.
Oh, they're saying that Russia's kind of learned from its mistakes, and now they're more defensive in nature, and the Ukraine may have a tough time dislodging Russian forces. Tougher time now. I don't know. I mean, like, you can't. We made a big mistake when we let Russia take Crimea, and then now they came for Ukraine. So, like, if we let them take Ukraine, or if we sat by and didn't help Ukraine help itself, which Trump would have done, then what would have been next? You know, what is he going to go after some other country next? You know, I mean, eventually it's like, then it gets real destabilizing, so I don't know. I mean, like I know that it's not in Putin's psychology. I read that it's not in Putin's psychology, but like ideally Russia would just get the fuck out and start fixing up their country. I mean, it seems like it's doing them no good either.
Why?
But...
You tell them to do that. We don't do that here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, like I said,
here I am defending, but it's the truth. It's like that's why I said the joke is when like, you hear bullshit like Elon Musk saying we're going to go Mars, and you're like, you can't even like there's like not even proper drinking water in parts of the country. If you can't even figure that out, you're not terraforming anything. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
bullshit.
Right. Like the lifespan in West Virginia, I think it's like down to 58 or something.
I mean, I imagine like us invading Iraq, all the resources that went into that, like how many like schools suffered because of that in the country? How many people truly suffered? Like I said, it's just funny with like, Boebert like trying to make this like, yeah, I mean, listen, I agree. Like, yeah, where did the 50 million go? Or 50 billion, not 50 million, 50 billion go? I mean, it's a lot of money. Where'd it go? I think it's more than that. But then when you make a dumbass comparison to the border with fucking like Mexico, it's just stupid.
Yeah, that's the stupid part. Like,
it's disgusting because it's like you're either being hysterical about Mexico, which she is either way, and you're downplaying how awful what's going on in Ukraine is.
Yeah, they're just apples. If they want to talk about the border, I mean, like we can talk about the border. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but like these are separate issues,
Okay,
it's like
what's his face? Abbott's like shipped over a bunch of people to Colorado recently.
Yeah, it's guy's a joke.
Colorado's like finding places for these people. It's just like fucked up because it like happened recently, and it's like we have this freeze going on here.
Yeah,
it's like statewide. It's like in Wisconsin also. It's just like a big frozen belt that's coming through. It's not gonna come at you.
We're supposed to get our low tomorrow is supposed to be like 12 degrees or something.
I was gonna say 30.
No, we're supposed to get
12 is low for Texas. That's when 12 is when the pipes and shit break in Texas.
Actually, I take that back. The low today, meaning Thursday, so I get theoretically tomorrow night, is supposed to be 12, but then the next day the low is supposed to be 10 with a high of 20. So it's supposed to get chilly here,
Yeah.
We're not supposed to get any snow, but it'll get cold.
Yeah.
And I think that is a concern. Like I saw Greg Abbott tweeted today or something like, we demand federal help at the border or whatever. And the border is colder than here right now. It's like it's probably in the teens there. And a lot of these people just come into the United States. They have no warm clothes, and they're places like El Paso are like scrambling for help. But I think if the Republicans, I know I'm like generalizing, if the Republicans worked to find a solution rather than just trying these stupid publicity stunts, they might get somewhere. And their solutions are all stupid as fuck.
They have no solutions. It's all harm. It's all harm. I mean, like honestly, like Paulus, I should follow him or something and see if he has responded to this. If I were him, I would put out an announcement and be like, well, we're finding places for these people and everything, especially Nicole. And I'm also going to sue Greg Abbott.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's that like...
Because this is negligence on his part.
Right.
Like,
or human trafficking or whatever. Maybe invent that's what they should do in progressive states like Massachusetts and Colorado. Have a law that says, just straight up, if Greg Abbott puts somebody on a bus and sends them here, we have the right to sue the fuck out of them. Do a dumb law like Texas does all the time. And then the minute Greg Abbott does that, say, oh, here, we have a law that covers this, and then sue Greg Abbott. There you go. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It's like a dicey situation because it's like, it's that whole, like, they're trying to pull this bullshit. Like, we have this problem with the border. Why don't you deal with it? It's just like, we have problems here. Why don't you fucking deal with it? Like, well, I don't know. We're
up to our necks in abominable snowmen. here in
Colorado.
Colorado.
I forgot. That was like, moving here. No one tells you about that. Yetis.
We have a Yeti problem.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. When the Yeti came crashing into my house, like Kool-Aid Man.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck?
He's like, oh yeah, T.
Yeah, oh yeah, T. It was more like, it was like, oh my God, fuck it.
Well,
Anyway.
I don't know. I mean, I do agree, but like, I know that
They're sweet and stupid. Like they crash in your house, but they're like, they don't act. They're just dumb. They're lumbering,
rummaging around in your kitchen.
Yeah, like a fat bear, like the bears that get like.
It is weird. I remember it used to be back in the day that that Democrats, pro-union Democrats, would fight against immigration because big business Republicans would bring in immigrants and have them work non-union jobs for a lot less money. And then now it seems a little reversed. It seems to me that there's got to be some solution. I mean, like, immigration works just fine. America's generally stronger because of immigration. So much of our everyday lives is the result of immigration. Like, not to be like weird about it, but the cultures that have diffused, like Mexican food and different elements of music and pop culture and words and language, and I don't know, there's just like a lot of like crossover that it seems like we've benefited from it far
Abbott's
more
just
than
a fucking piece of shit, and he's just appealing to racist chuds. That's all it is. It's a fucking scumbag move to like be like.
It is. It's real cynical.
You deal with it now. It's fucking. It's like childish, and like I said, if he keeps, there has to be some kind of lawsuit or something because this is ridiculous. Like I said, even just the human trafficking element should be enough to be like.
Yeah, I would say.
Are you like, what are you doing to these people? You tricking them? Like, I'm wondering. I would say the worst one though is the DeSantis one. That was.
Oh yeah, that was just weird because it wasn't. They never set foot in Florida.
Yeah, and then they made these like fake brochures in like Martha's Vineyard. It's like, this is like trolling 101. It was like, what the fuck? That was bullshit.
Yeah. No.
All right. Well, I think we're I think we covered everything. Well, we're gonna do one more for the end of the year. It'll be next week. So I guess we'll talk about Willow. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I haven't seen Avatar yet. I don't know if I will.
I have not seen that yet.
Have you seen the first one?
I saw the first one in the theaters. I saw the first one in an IMAX theater, and it was a real nice theater. It was down in Florida, and it was a newer IMAX theater. It was in 3D, and it had the true surround sound. There's like speakers fucking everywhere. And I remember thinking the movie was kind of just sort of okay, but man, did I enjoy that movie because
it's like a lot of like, wow.
The 3D was
stories like whatever, it's fine.
Dances with avatars. The 3D was like I had never seen before. The sound was amazing. The sound was just like unreal.
Avatar, though, that thing I think unfortunately ruins Avatar. It's not even their fault. James Cameron's fault, or that is that the reaction of all the studios after Avatar being like, we're gonna make every movie fucking 3D.
Oh yeah,
and like 90% of all the movies that came out for the next 4 years after Avatar, were just terrible 3D. Like the only ones that worked were like the CG cartoons and stuff like that because they were just like were made to be 3D. Like, it's in like, but all these wonky like these movies that were not like, they're like, oh yeah, this movie's supposed to come out in like a month. Yeah, we got a 3D version. They're like, what? And I think like it's funny because the guy who was in Avatar was in Clash of the Titans.
Oh yeah.
What his name is? I forgot the actor's name. And the joke was that movie supposedly had the worst 3D conversion.
Yeah, I never saw that.
I saw it on like, cable or whatever.
Yeah.
Not 3D obviously, but it was like so he stars in like the best 3D movie ever made, and then ends up starring in the worst 3D movie. Like people were like getting ill, like all the perspectives were off. They didn't know what they were.
Well,
like,
that makes sense. I took my kid was young at the time, but we started seeing movies with her. We saw like Kung Fu Panda 3 or 2 or what. We started seeing some 3D movies, and she got like really nauseous with a lot of them. And eventually we started going to the 2D versions of these movies. They used to like, a lot of the movie theaters would show in one theater a 3D version and another theater,
and there's like
2D.
a $4 or $5 difference too. And then, like, the joke is about the 3D stuff, even that as good as like Avatar was with the 3D, it's really shocking in the first 15 minutes, but then your eyes adjust.
Yeah.
And then like the 3D kind of like isn't as strong anymore.
Yeah. It's it just gets to be incidental, and then it starts to distract. Like a lot of the movie goes by and it's normal, and then a 3D scene comes up and you're like, oh, that's a 3D scene. You know what I mean? Like I know there's some ambient 3D that's always there,
and
but
so there's like a real major one where the character's flying out. Or always like Jason 3D or Jaws 3D where they would like throw a cigarette butt at the screen or something. Like
I remember
corny 3D. I always found it funny though when Avatar came out, they're like talking about 3D like there was this new technology, and I'm like, they've been making 3D movies since like the 50s. Obviously, this 3D was on a whole nother level. But,
I think the movie I'd seen prior to that, I think Jaws 3 was in 3D.
Yeah, Jaws 3 was 3D.
And then before that, I saw like Treasure of the Four Crowns in 3D, and so there's a few movies. Some schlocky 70s, 80s adventure movie I saw in 3D.
Yeah. I think I'll probably just wait. Like my son, like at first I was like, "Do you want to see Avatar?" And he was like interested for a minute. I was like, "Well, we should probably watch the first one."
Yeah,
that did the trick. Then he never went. Well, I wanted to see it, but I don't care. I don't care enough to go like see it on my own or anything like that. I don't give a shit. And he never had an interest to watch it at home, and I knew that it was like it's like a 3-hour movie, the first one. He's not gonna want to sit through it. And we watched Rockula the other day, though. That's so that's the kind of movies we watch. We go on Tubi and find these horrible horror movies, or, like rock movies. One of them was like something demons, and they're like in a band. It's like a total satanic panic movie.
Nice.
It's pretty bad, but I guess Trauma put it out. It's not a Trauma movie, but it's like I forgot the name. It was like something demons, and that one was corny as hell. It was like, it starts out really cool. It's just like awesome makeup in the beginning with the band. And you find bands like demons, and like they're basically like the audience is slowly getting turned into demons. And they only played that one show, and then they go to a town. The town's like, all the religious people like, we don't want this here. And the band, like, they're human. And,
weird.
And they look human and like that, and they're tricking people, and they play in front of them. The music's like mainstream music are playing, and it's like, oh, these guys aren't that bad. But then they leave, and all of a sudden the outfits change. And it's not like the music was that heavy to begin with, even when they were people. And the kids start. It's such a bad movie, like it's so bad. And then by the end of the movie, the band is like full on demon, but like they don't go back to that awesome makeup from the beginning of the movie. It's like some other makeup, and I'm like, what? Like, who made this movie? Like, did they make this scene and then forgot how to make that? I don't know. Really bad. Rockula, though, stars Tony, what's her name? The one from Basil?
Tony Basil, yeah.
Yeah, from Mickey. And then Dean Cameron from Summer School and Ski School, and some awesome show where he was like him and his other guy played brothers or aliens from another planet. That I remember watching that show. Dean Cameron he's in this movie, and he's a vampire. And Tony Basil plays his mom, which is weird.
She's like 97 years old though, so that actually.
Now she's like 79, but this movie came out in 1990, so she was like in her late 40s.
Okay.
I don't know if I can recommend watching Rockula, but it was fucking weird. It's a very strange movie. He like has a mirror reflection that is like a different person that he
Huh.
talks to. It's him, but like I don't know, very weird. Bo
Yeah.
Diddley's in it.
Weird.
Forgot. Well, there's like another big name in it.
Yeah.
Strange movie.
We've talked about
Right.
Toni Basil before because Rockula that came out in 90. She had a bunch of movies in 90. She was in Rockula, Pacific Palisades, Catch Fire, and Eating. But she was in like a bunch of movies back in the day. She was in Easy Rider. She was in 5 Easy Pieces. She was in the last movie, Greaser's Palace. Yeah. She played Mary in Easy Rider.
Yeah.
She was in Viva Las Vegas, the movie.
I think she did a lot of choreography in these movies.
Yeah, that sounds right. Well. Greaser's Palace was kind of a crazy movie. That was with Robert Downey Sr.
I don't even know what that guy looks like.
Yeah. Huh. Well, anyway, Toni Basil, yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, she's really pretty. I think I'm gonna try to catch White Lotus over the next week.
Yes, watch that. That show's great. Definitely.
And then,
now that you mean 2 seasons are out, you don't have to wait weekly.
Yeah.
Like we did. Just burn through it. It's really good. I think the first season is like the second season. I was like, there's no way the second season will be good.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how do you redo the show? There's one recurring character from the first season without saying too much. I'm sure you could figure out who. And I was like, oh no, it's gonna be like True Detective. Like True Detective never worked again. You had that perfect season with Woody Harrelson and they called it the Makana Sans or whatever. Because
the Yellow King. Yeah,
he was in that in like Texas something where he had the AIDS or whatever.
Yeah.
Like saying it like that. It's so weird. And then they had that second season that sucked, and then the third season was like okay, but it never really worked.
Yeah.
So I was like, how is this show going to work? But the second season was good. It worked.
All right, I'll check it out.
I have been wanting to check it out.
I keep hearing good things about it, and I can never get a bead.
It's like a, I don't know a term like dramedy. I hate that term.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it is. It's some serious
I'll
stuff.
check it out.
When it's funny. It's like legitimately funny.
Cool. All right.
Well, on that note, happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah. Blessed solstice.
Yeah. That's right. Here at YSGOAT. Yeah, happy holidays here.
All right.
And we don't pray to the flag or whatever. We kneel to it, right? No, wait.
Kneel.
I saw some guy in Texas with a shirt one time. I was at First Watch Eden there, and this guy got up in his shirt. He had like one of those Facebook shirts with like all the words on it. It's like different fonts, and it says like "You will pray to the flag and kneel and I don't know guns." And I was like, "Oh my god, this guy's awful."
You'll ride Elon's dick, and you
yeah. This was years ago. I don't think this guy was dick riding yet, but he totally probably would be
probably.
Yeah, riding Elon's dick to the sunset. On that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.